I am an autism mom, just like you, and I am also a life coach. Welcome, everybody. I see everybody's coming in. Amazing, amazing. On the bottom, you will see a Q&A button. I want you to put your questions in there and raise your hand. I don't know if I'm going to be able to coach tonight because we have so much good stuff to go over. I really went over my whole potty process and tweaked and just did all the things to make it all buttoned up and perfect and easy for you guys to follow because we're going to potty train some babies. So welcome, everybody. So excited to see everyone here. If you go on the bottom, there's your Q&A box. Just pop that open, start putting your questions in there. If you want to be coached tonight, I'm not 100% sure we're going to be coaching everybody tonight, but raise your hand and I will do some coaching tonight. Awesome. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Michelle Rogers. I am an autism parent just like you. My daughter Juliana was diagnosed on the spectrum on her a little after her second birthday. She had language, lost her language. We taught her to sign language. She started to make sounds, then potty trained with the sign. She started to say words, and was speaking. She went from the most restrictive special education classroom, a 614, moderate to severe, diagnosed on the spectrum, to where she is today, a happy 10-year-old, chatty, her first year in a general education class with neurotypical peers. I never thought this was possible, so I'm going to share some information on our journey tonight. One of the things that I do is I run a group coaching program for parents of children with autism. It's called the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. And in that program, I have a 100% success rate when it comes to potty training. Meaning if you join that program, by the time you leave with a potty trained child. Not one child has left that program without being potty trained. And this is why I wanted to do this training tonight, because I want you all to see that this is possible for your babies. And I took the exact techniques that we go over week after week in the masterclass, and I put it in the presentation tonight. So welcome to everybody. If you have questions, you're going to put them in the Q&A. If you'd like coaching tonight, you're going to raise your hand. I'm not sure if we're going to get to coaching, but I'm going to try. So let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me here, everybody. You can also just give me any types of messages in the Q&A as well. All righty, 1 second. Can you see my screen, Jen?
Yes.
All right, Jen is here, by the way. I didn't even introduce her. Jen is my right hand. She is what makes everything possible here in Champions for Our Children, and she's going to help with the tech tonight. And we have two special gifts that are going out tonight to everybody who came live to this presentation. If you don't already have it, we're going to give you a copy of the Potty Pocket Guide. And if you stay till Q&A, we are going to be raffling off. We're going to take all the names that are live in the program right now, and we're going to be raffling off a session with me. So you don't want to miss that as well. Okay, so let's get cracking to Potty Power. All righty, so I want to share, if you don't know me, if you don't know our story, I created this beautiful video just kind of explaining my journey to where we are today with my daughter. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. I mean, my life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and I finally thought that I was turning a corner and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And I just, yes, finally something was going my way. And then when she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things that I thought she was going to do. A good girl. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior changes. She went from, saying Mac. She was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dada. She was saying it all. Good girl, say Mac. Hit all of her milestones up to that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantruming, just frustrated all the time. And I remember saying to my mom one day during one of these tantrums, where did my happy baby go?
but I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. Okay. Good. You gotta get dressed. Gotta get dressed, honey. Come on, time to get dressed. She started to lose the words that she had named. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying that. She just seemed really disconnected from us. Instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of the store, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she just like started like screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what the problem was. And I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time it really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was diagnosed with what? I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And I said, okay, And a couple of months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit. And the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just the knife to my heart at that point. I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that as a mother, as a woman, as just a human being, it was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember just being I went from being so happy with God, so thankful to be so pleased at doing this to her and wrapping this beautiful gift he had given me. And for a while there, I struggled. I struggled to figure out what this meant or what we were going to do or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered. And I had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future. One night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her one day? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear and said, listen, we got to get to work here. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise hasn't changed. In fact, it should mean more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of or what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I became her fiercest advocate. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I never had any formal training in ABA, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language. Cheerios? You want Cheerios? I want Cheerios. Okay. She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed. Wait, what? Okay. We taught her sign language. Show me. Juliana, show me. Good girl. Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Then she started to speak. Say I feel me. She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She was in 614, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool. To now where she is almost 8 years old. She's in the second grade class in a gen ed school, integrated class with typical peers. She speaks beautifully now. What did you like about the troll experience? She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I can do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I was everything I could be for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, it's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children, which was to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children. I've helped now hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to craft plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that kind of
Dear Juliana, today will wish a day full of happiness. Stay with friends. Many good memories yes, and great times. I hope you remember. Happy birthday, love, Jane.
Okay, so that's our little story in a nutshell. So before we hop into potty training specifically, one of the things that we focus a lot of our time on in my masterclass is the 3 skills. I call them the big 3, and I call them that because it's what I believe every child on the spectrum needs for a chance at a life of independence. And the first skill that kids need is communication. The second is no problem behavior or very reduced problem behavior at 0 or close to 0 so they can sit and attend and learn. And the third big life skill that they need for that chance of independent life is potty training. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight because I see all of you guys have got lots of questions in the Q&A about potty training and we're going to help you out. I just realized the chat is disabled. We are trying to fix that. In the meantime, use your Q&A. I'm going to go through all the questions in there and hopefully I'll be able to get some time in to coach you guys live. All right, so before we actually get into the tactical of potty training, I want to talk about something that nobody talks about, and it's probably 95% of the game, and that is the parent mindset. When Juliana was born, I remember holding her in the hospital with high expectations of what her future was going to be like. When she was diagnosed with autism at 25 months, all those dreams went black, and it was my darkest hour as a parent. I thought her life was over, and I thought mine was too. I was mentally and emotionally in the worst space of my life. I spent the next few months in total grief. And some people say, well, why would it be grief? She's still here, but it was grieving this neurotypical childhood experience I thought I was going to have with her. It does feel like a death. It did feel like a death. And then one night after I put the kids to bed, I had this thought, I'm going to die one day and who's going to care for her like her mom? And something about that thought, which, in most circumstances would be quite terrifying. And it was to me, but it was also, it kind of snapped me out of my grief, almost like a big slap in the face, like, hey, you need to get your head out of your ass. Your kid needs you. And I still had no idea what was going to happen. But I knew if I had white flagged it, if I stayed in grief, if I continued on this path and completely checked out, my daughter's life and future was finished. But whether it was this thought or something else, I knew heart of hearts, I wouldn't stay in this dark place. And this is actually a scene from the movie The Matrix. It's got to be over 20 years old at this point. And I identified with this well in creating this concept about the parent mindset, because in this movie, there was a child in there, looked like a little Buddha, and he was bending a spoon just with his mind. And the boy says to Keanu Reeves, don't try to bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. And he says, and Keanu Reeves says, what truth? And he says that there is no spoon. Then you'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. It symbolizes the idea that certain problems or obstacles only exist if one believes in it. Therefore, it's possible to overcome it by denying its existence. You want to say hi real quick? This is Juliana, everybody. I swear I have a kid. All right, I have to do my call. Bye, I'll see you later. She's going in the pool. It's never too cold to go in the pool. Shut my door, please. I swear I have kids. Okay. So the idea that there is no spoon, right? That he's trying to bend the spoon that we all think is there. And he says that there is none. It symbolizes the idea that certain problems or obstacles only exist if one believes in them. If I believe that autism is a problem that needs to be solved, if I believe it's a problem, maybe if I don't believe it's a problem, but if I just believe it's a problem that I can solve for, then that's how I can change my reality. Now, I'm not saying that autism doesn't exist. I can confirm there was this distinct difference in Juliana as a baby who was diagnosed with autism, my son Cody, who was neurotypical. The meaning of it signifies that a person cannot truly manipulate reality. A person can only manipulate him or herself. Only when a person changes him or herself can she or he change their reality. And one thing I've always found fascinating are people that create the exception to the rule. And I want you guys to understand, like, you see me up here and I'm loud and I'm crazy and I curse and I do all the things and I'm a tough cookie and I'm a tough mom. But this wasn't an identity I was born with. This identity was created over the life that I've lived up until this point. This identity was being built even before I became a mother. And one of the things that had happened to me when I was a child is I was bullied horrendously. I was bullied nonstop between kindergarten and middle school. And anytime somebody had an opportunity, I was a very shy child. I know it doesn't even seem like that's possible when you're hearing me talk now, but I was extremely shy. I was young for my age, for my grades, and I was picked on nonstop. I remember coming home every day crying, thinking like, doesn't somebody, like a grown-up or somebody, see this, this injustice happening, and somebody needs to come and save me. Like I can't live like this. Somebody has to come and stop this. This is totally wrong. And I had these thoughts. Every day I'd come home crying, thinking like I'm just waiting for somebody to come save me, like a superhero, right? Somebody that's going to come in and just like make all the shit go away. And then I remember one day in middle school, we were in science class. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in the front row next to a bully that was a short little asshole. And I think he was just a bully because he was just, trying to distract everybody from the fact that he was so short. And the science teacher wanted us to join hands with the person next to us to show us how neurons fire together or something. And I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my God, he's going to use this as an opportunity to make fun of me, to be an asshole. Maybe he won't because we're in the first row. So we join hands. And as soon as we do, he starts making pig noises. He starts laughing. And something happened to me in that moment. And I fucking snapped. I don't even know what else to say. I'm not even like this. I'm very boisterous vocally, but I'm not like, I just never did anything like this before. And when he started to laugh, I remember thinking in my head, no one is coming to save me. I have to save myself. I have to be my own superhero in this moment. And I just started digging my nails into his hand. And all of a sudden he stopped laughing and he started screaming and he started to cry a little bit, and he ripped my hand from his. He ran out of the room and he never fucked with me again. And there was something about that moment. It was a defining moment for me that I realized that the person I was always hoping that was going to come and swoop in and save me, the Superman or the superhero, it had to be me. And that identity was created long before I was a parent. But it's one of the things that have helped me through to this process of helping my daughter go from where she was to where she is today. So while I was thinking about this person for those many years that was going to be like a superhero and come in and save me, one of the other things I was always fascinated about in life were people who could create miracles, people that were exceptions to the rule. And I always liked fucking with the idea that I could be this exception to the rule. And if I thought that about myself, I most certainly would think that about my child, even my nonverbal diaper-wearing child with autism. Even though I was shocked, destroyed, sad, scared of what was to come from my newly diagnosed child with autism, because I saw autism like you might think, like Rain Man, a major debilitating disability. Even with that fear inside me, at that point in my life, I was so practiced in the belief that I could be my own savior. I can save myself. I love the idea of being the exception of the rule. And then by connection, if I could be the exception to the rule, by extension, Juliana could also be the exception to the rule, which by the way, are all thoughts I believe about myself. I just think these thoughts over and over and over again. That's how this identity isn't born, it's created. And that's what I thought. And I had so much practice thinking shit like this. This is how I thought about everything. So when this obstacle came in our lives, where autism was handed to us, I had your knee-jerk reaction. I thought our lives were over. I thought that this is it for me and her, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just living my life depressed in darkness and pending doom. And I just knew like I couldn't stay there because I've gotten myself out of that space before, and I've saved myself. And by coming up with the identity of a person who can save herself, I could save my child. Not only that, I love the idea of an exception of the rule, right? An exception of the rule reminds you of a superhero. And if they exist in the world, why couldn't I be that for my daughter? And why couldn't she be that for autism? And I choose to believe this about us every day. Thinking about myself in this way has served me well in all aspects of my life, hence why they're burned into my bones till this day. I also believe it's the reason Juliana is where she is today. Now, for the first year or so, we were in our autism bubble, receiving services in our home. But I assumed, I don't know why I just did. I assumed all parents thought like this. I thought all parents think this way about their kids. And if not about themselves, I believe 1,000% they thought it for their kids, because that's why we created these little humans, to love and mush on them and raise them to be awesome adults. And I don't think a parent who doesn't think like me doesn't have the same intention. That same intention to love, mush, and raise their babies to be awesome adults. But I've learned through coaching that one cannot exist without the other, because it's the way of seeing the world matrix style. Meaning I can't change anything for my child if I don't believe I can create change for myself. And that I learned very quickly when I started coaching parents. You can't change that autism is here, but you can decide how you want to show up for yourself and your child every single day. Only when you do that can you change your reality and the reality for your baby. I can't give you the path to potty training if you've already given up on a limitless future for your baby. If you don't think thoughts that create the action to change you and in turn change your reality, you could end up like these parents I've encountered. Parents of preschool children talking about giving up their homes to the state to be a group home, so when they die, their kid will definitely have a bedroom and a home to live in after they're gone. Parents putting teenagers that they'd rather have home with them in group homes because they need to get them in the system and they don't want them to lose their spot that when they'll need it as an adult. Parents of young children going to estate planning or transition planning workshops. Parents talking about starting businesses for dignified employment of children who will be adults with special needs. Parents who spend tons of their time trying to change the world and make the world inclusive to the child instead of focusing on getting the child prepared for the world that we all know stops for no one. Now, I consider myself a planner. None of those things are bad, but it's bad in the context when you've already given up before the job has begun. And I love being a planner. I always think 5 steps ahead. But I take huge issue with a parent that future trips their kid into a group home at the age of 5. I mean, I'll never forget that conversation. We were all preschool parents. All our kids were 3 years old, and we're sitting in a hot tub, and they're talking about the process of giving their homes away to the state. They're 3 years old. Nobody can tell you, and I mean nobody No one can tell you where a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old will be at 16, 18, 25, or 35. And if I'm already taking myself there at preschool or grade school for that matter, it's over already. You've quit before the job's begun. How many times has a professional, a doctor, a therapist, told us something about our kids that was 100% wrong? Put it in the Q&A. I know our chat's not working. How many fucking times has that happened? It's happened to me. It's happened to people I know. It's happened about people making predictions about my child. How many times have they been wrong? If you think this way and you give up on your kid before the job's begun, you're missing out on the opportunity to meet your child where they are now, helping them learn these life skills now. And this is the pre-matrix thinking that goes through all of our heads. And I want you to understand, I had these thoughts too. I'm not saying I wasn't scared. I'm not saying I didn't envision Rain Man or the worst possible scenarios when I thought about autism. That's all I knew. And I thought things like, my child's never going to speak. I'm never going to hear my child say, I love you. I wish my child could be like normal kids. What are they doing in speech? He's been in there 3 years and not making any progress. I just want to have a conversation with my child. Am I going to be changing diapers forever? The single most important thing you need to know is getting our autistic children communicating and potty training starts with our beliefs and what we, their parents, are capable of first, and what they're capable of second. The number one reason stopping your child from communicating or potty training, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, is your thoughts about them. And your thoughts are creating the results you're living with right now. And this is a training, mindset training in my program is a big part of it. Because like I said, and if you don't really realize it now, 95% of the game is where we are here. And if I've already quit on my kid here before the job's begun, your results, you are living them right now. And how the brain works is that you have the power to change your child's future and results with your mind and with your thinking. And I know this is like, it feels woo-woo, whatever. It's not, though. This is how I've created my identity. This is the identity that saved my girl. It's the identity that you need to become to save your baby. When we have thoughts create emotions, and emotions create action or inaction we take in life, which creates the results in your life and the life for your babies. And knowing that your thinking is creating your current feelings about your child communicating or potty training, and knowing that your emotions are creating your current actions or inaction around your child still wearing diapers and not just sitting on the toilet to pee or poop. Therefore, your thinking is creating your current results around your child not being potty trained. And you have the power to change your results for your baby one thought at a time. It's the biggest part of my program. By thinking intentionally and deliberately with different thoughts that leave you feeling empowered, motivated, and willing to believe an alternate outcome is possible for your baby, your reality will change because you'll show up differently for your child than you are right now. What are your thoughts about your child learning to communicate or potty train? Do you think they're capable of potty training? Do you think you're capable of teaching them? Does autism mean diapers for life in your mind? Does autism mean cancer to you? Your thinking needs to be setting yourself up and your child up for success when it comes to communication, potty training, stopping problem behaviors, the big three. And this is an exercise we do in the program. It's called the model. And basically what we want to do is we want to acknowledge that our brain is going to present us thoughts. The brain presents the human being about 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are shitty. And it's not like your brain is broken or why does your brain present you, mostly crappy thoughts. All brains do this. And the reason why the brains do it is that the brain's job is not to elevate us or give us the goals we want for getting our children potty trained or communicating. It's to keep us safe. And they know the life you're living now, even though it's not the desire for your higher self's desire is not to live this life. It knows you can survive here. So it doesn't like change. Change is dangerous to the brain. So what we want to do is look at some of the default thinking that we all have, and the difference between maybe some of the thoughts you have and some of the thoughts I have is that I've learned to train my brain that I don't accept that bullshit. And I choose to believe things that are always going to move me and my baby forward. So this is an example of how we rewire your brain. So here's the fact. And the fact, what we call a fact of life, is like a circumstance. That means that you could submit it to a court of law, that if you said this statement to everybody, everyone would agree it's a fact. So in this example, a child's not potty trained and they're wearing pull-ups. And a parent might have thoughts about it. It's never going to happen. They don't understand or care when they're wet. This is one of these common thoughts I hear a lot of the times. They don't understand the concept. They don't even notice that they're wet. They don't care if they are. And when I think that about my child, I feel hopeless. I feel defeated. I've already quit before the job's begun with the way that thought makes me feel. And the action I take towards potty training is going to be a half-assed effort. I'm going to quit and pull out the pull-up after a few accidents. And then the result is my child's not going to be potty trained. So on this side is what we call our champion parent thinking. And if you notice, the fact of life is still the same. And this is I always try to reverse engineer my brain on my journey of this. Is like, okay, what did this look like for me? Like, what did it look like when Juliana was not potty trained and I wanted her potty trained and she wasn't verbal and she was moderate to severe on the spectrum, and how was I going to do this? And this is the thoughts that I had. Now, I'm not saying I didn't have the initial knee-jerk reaction of like, this is going to be difficult, this is going to be hard, autism is going to make this whatever, but I don't stay there because I know that shit comes from that. Okay? So here's the thought I had. Potty training is not optional in my home. This is a necessary skill set for my child to learn. I don't care what her skill, I don't care where she is on the spectrum. This is a requirement. It is not like, it's not a maybe. It's either you're going to wear underwear if you live in my home. And that emotion that I feel when I think that thought is I feel like it's already done. I feel determined, motivated. I am not quitting until I get this result. And the actions I take are different. They represent a different, they fire me up in a different way. And I go all in. I believe in the process. I look at other success stories. I believe in my child and myself. I expect accidents and I don't quit. And the result is that my child is potty trained. And that's what we work on in the program. And building new beliefs on purpose by challenging those old thoughts and beliefs. This is how we work it. So basically, this is why I don't believe daily affirmations work. Daily affirmations don't work because you don't fucking believe them. Like, so it's just like, oh, you're an amazing, powerhouse today. Have an amazing day. And if you're feeling like shit, you don't believe it. So that's why it doesn't catch fire in your soul. It doesn't like move you. The idea here is to get from a point of where I'm like thinking that this child has this child doesn't understand the steps that it takes to potty train, or they don't mind being wet, to believing something different. I have to kind of have a bridge thought that kind of takes me from one point that leads me towards where Michelle is now, where she's like, nope, we don't accept this. We're not having a not potty trained child in my house, even a not potty trained, severely autistic child in my house, right? So what the things we do is we kind of create this bridge to connect where I am now to where I want to be. So if I have the old thought belief, like, oh, my child is nonverbal and I don't think that he can be potty trained, I could also say, but that's what I used to believe, and I'm working on not believing that anymore. I'm willing to believe that a child who is pre-verbal can potty train, because that's what happened with my daughter. She learned with a sign. I could be wrong about the thought that children who don't speak can't potty train. I'm open to believing that children, no matter where they fall on the spectrum, most, if not all, from my experience, from the experience of my coaches, we've been able to potty train, they come through the program, but most, not all, can be potty trained. All thoughts that you think are optional. Like, your brain is going to present the thought without you even having a say in it. But the only way it catches fire, the only way it like clings to your soul and affects that emotion in you to make you feel like shit or make you feel empowered is your choice. And that's what we mean when we say all thoughts are optional. And you get to choose your thinking to get new emotions, actions, and new results. And I help parents to think intentionally to get the results they want for their children with autism. And this is Mary. She's one of my first clients. Her son was 7, moderate to severe on the spectrum. When we first worked together, he was nonverbal and in diapers. And within 2 weeks of working with us, he was fully potty trained. And within a month, he said mama for the first time. This is possible for your baby. But if you're already gone here, I can't help you. I need you to have you don't even have to be like all in and committed in the sense of like my mind believe like, what if all this time, everything I thought is wrong and I'm willing to believe something different. That's all I need. And I will take you to the other side. I will show you what's possible. What Mary got for her son and what I got for my daughter. It's possible for you. Okay, so now we're going to get into potty power. I hope this was helpful for everybody. I wish chat is off, but you guys can put your comments in the chat. This is where I am right now. He'll go potty when he's naked. When I try to get him in underwear or pants, he doesn't seem to care when he's wet. That is a thought that you're choosing to believe. And when I believe that my son doesn't care when he's wet, how motivated am I going to be to potty train him? Right? If I feel like it's like, I'll have parents that'll say, you know, it's really strange, out of the blue. That shit sucks too, because if you start mystifying it, right? You start putting question marks all around it, your brain's never going to be able to create a solve for it. You always have to, as soon as I feel that about anything I have going on, I'm like, nope, demystify that belief, because then I'm never going to be able to access the part of my brain that's going to be the problem solver. Okay. Absolutely true. I love that. All right. I know my daughter's capable. I don't know if I'm capable to train her. That's where that's where your work is. If you know your daughter's capable, but you don't believe that you are, we got to crack the code as to what's the thoughts that's making you feel that you're not capable to train her. And she just said it. She has the thought, I'm not capable to train her. And when she thinks that, she feels defeated. You have to start to train your brain that you're not going to accept the bullshit thoughts it presents to keep us in the cave, to keep us living the life we're living now. And then I'm willing to be scared and do it anyway. I'm willing to be nervous and do it anyway. I'm willing to see accidents and keep going. Okay. So now we're going to get into the tactical part of potty training. And before we get into it, of course, we have to give our own disclaimer. This information and all information in my workshops are not intended to serve as a substitute for a consultation with the medical and behavioral professionals. Only qualified professionals who know and work with a child on an ongoing basis can adequately assess and supervise a child's program. I always recommend including a board-certified behavior analyst. We have 3 on our team, on a child's client's team. This is especially important if a child is in danger of hurting themselves or others, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is in potty training, we want to talk about automaticity. Automaticity is defined as the ability to do things without occupying the mind, with low-level details required, allowing it to become an automatic response pattern or habit. That's what we want for potty training. Potty training falls into this category. This is the exact process I've seen happen over and over again in the masterclass. And this process works for all children, no matter where they fall on the spectrum. One of the best things I love about everything I teach is it's very behavioral based, and behavior never lies for any species, right? If I want a behavior, if I had a behavior in the past, like let's say I had a child who had language and they lost their language, studied, tried and true, it is believed that if a child could speak once and he lost it, he could speak again. I even chose to believe that before I even knew it was studied, tried and true. That's what you've got to start. You got to start attaching to the thoughts that are going to keep you moving to get the results you came for. Okay? And that's what potty training is. What we want to do is like when you and I have to go to the bathroom, we feel the urge instantly. We get up and we respond and we go to the bathroom. The children that are in diapers, they have to be taught to listen for those cues. Not just children with autism. All children need this. So there's 4 stages to get to automaticity. That's where you and I are now. So if we feel the urge, I'm drinking a bunch of water, I feel the urge to go to the bathroom, I get up and I go. This is not like we were born this way. Your parents somebody taught you how to potty train. This is how you learned. You had to go through these phases. So the first stage is unconscious incompetence. This is when a child is still in diapers. They don't know how to pee and poop on the potty. They don't understand the value in learning. That's super huge for our kids on the spectrum. They might not even be aware of their bodily functions at this point. Stage 2 is conscious incompetence. The child can see their lack of ability and they can see the value of gaining the knowledge and skills, and they begin to seek growth, whether that's voluntarily or involuntary. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. And this is where it can get muddy for parents of children with autism. You might have beliefs that your child doesn't care, or it doesn't click, or they're nonverbal, low functioning, severely autistic. This is when shit gets muddy, where you start making excuses for why the natural progression to automaticity doesn't happen for potty training for your baby. We must always presume competence. At the deepest level, a child wants to please their parents. The idea at stage 2 is to start introducing the child to being wet or dirty, which happens during potty training, right? They're going to have accents. It's not called potty perfection. It's called potty training. And we can have them be a part of the cleanup process and show them there's a better way with a reward waiting for them. We're going to talk a lot about rewards tonight. Stage 3 of automaticity is conscious competence. This is when a child knows a great deal about potty training. They've been getting a lot of reps of potty training in, and they can reliably perform the tasks involved, but maybe they need a prompt, right? How many kids in here are potty trained, but they can't go without a prompt? However, they still need to concentrate on the task while doing it. This is the point in the process when they know you want them to go pee and poop in the toilet, but they need help remembering when to go. This is the process for all children. Okay, and that's what I just said here. And stage 4, I'm glad I'm consistent to my slide. Stage 4 is where you and I are at now, and that's unconscious competence. This comes with a lot of reps. The child has had practice and performed this skill so much it becomes second nature. They can pee and poop on the potty effortlessly and unconsciously, just like you and I do it now. Even while doing or thinking something else, it's just a part of life now. Okay, so the first step into potty training. So now that we know what we're looking for, right? We're looking for the steps of automaticity. We know where they are now. They may be at stage 1 or 2, and we want to get them to 4, which is where we are now. And we want them to see the value in it. Right now, for you and I, believe it or not, we see value in going to the bathroom. Because if I don't go to the bathroom and I don't answer nature's call, I'm going to piss or shit my pants. And then I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to clean up wherever I made the mess. I got to clean up myself, clean up my pants, change my clothes. The value for us is to not have to have extra work to do. We created that value with the reps that we've had in this. We saw the value in learning at some point as a child. We just need to create that value with a little external reinforcement at first for your child, but then they're going to see as they do the reps, wow, the value of not shitting and pissing my pants is just so much better than what I was doing in the past. Okay, so the first step in always potty training is to make sure your child is ready. So you want to see some signs of potty readiness. You only need one of these. Okay, so they can be either waking up from bedtime or waking up dry from a nap. Taking their diaper off when it's dirty. We have plenty of kids that'll just take it off. They'll even hand you a pull-up when it's full. This is a sign that they're ready to potty train. If they go long periods of time during the day with a dry diaper, when you get your potty pocket guide, the last page of it is this toilet training data sheet. You are going to note when they're wet, when they're dry, and when they're having a bowel movement. You can check their diaper every hour and you'll know, okay, maybe the diaper does stay dry for an hour, 2 hours. This is a sign they're ready to potty train. They're curious around the potty when you go, when you or your husband goes, or your wife, and you see that, they're curious about the flushing and the toilet paper. They request the potty, request a pull-up. I've seen that so many times. And they have regular bowel movements that are predictable-ish, don't have to be perfect, but we do also want to make sure that they're not loose stool or painful constipation. Loose stool is like diarrhea. It's not fair to potty train if a child's experiencing chronic diarrhea or chronic loose stool, because they'll never get to the bathroom fast enough to answer nature's call, which they're very new at understanding and hearing. So we want to make sure we're getting the poops to a peanut butter consistency, and they're, somewhat predictable-ish. Constipation. Now, this is where everybody's like, oh, we can't do it. They get constipated. If they're constipated, my kids don't poop every day. They probably poop every couple of days. Nowadays I poop pretty regularly, but for many years I was the same. I wouldn't call that a problem. In fact, the only constipation that I'm concerned about is the one where the child's bent over in pain, they're crying, their tummy's distended. I mean, I've had children in the program go 6 days without pooping, and it's not like that's not the problem. They're deliberately holding it. So we have strategies that we use to get them to make it a little bit more. I don't use laxatives. I don't believe in Miralax. I don't believe in any of that shit. I want to try and do this as natural as possible. It's just a matter of getting that first poop out and getting lucky enough to get it on the toilet. And then they're going to make that connection. That's exactly what happened with my son. They need to be able to follow simple instructions, have comprehension. One of the things we want to make sure we're doing with potty training, I'm going to talk about this more too, is that we got to make sure that they can sit. You can't run before you crawl. If they're not sitting, we have to practice our instructional control that way first. And that the child is not scared of the potty. What I call it, when I have parents that come to me all the time and say, I'm trying to potty train, but every time I bring them in there, they're screaming and crying. As soon as I put them on the toilet, they run out of the room. That's what we call potty phobia. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but that's what I coined it. So that means basically that for whatever reason, the child is adverse to sitting. We'll see this a lot with boys that are pee trained and not poop trained, because most of the time the boys are peeing standing up. So they're not getting their reps in of getting comfortable of sitting on the toilet. So before we potty train those kids, we have to get them comfortable just to sit first. If they can sit first, then we get that up to about 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to pass, and then we can actually start potty training. Now it's time to get you ready to potty train. So basically, there's 2 ways to potty train. There's an intensive method, and there's just the like, I do it as I can method. I love the intensive because you get a lot of data fast. One of 2 things happen when you do a 3-day intensive. I'm going to go over the details of how that works in a minute. But basically, you'll either have a potty trained child or a close to potty trained child. If you can spend three days kind of locked in a room with the child, and there's the bathroom in the room or attached to the room, and you'll either get a lot of information or you'll have a potty trained child, because after 3 days, you're going to know a lot of tells, you're going to know some schedules, and you'll be able to continue on your progress. And we tweak and test and as we move along until we get the result, which is a fully potty trained child. So this is the first way you can potty train. You're going to pick a time that you'll have a 3-day window where you and your child can be home together without any distractions. Nothing stressful should be happening around the home at the time you decide to potty train. So that means that no moves, no divorce, no changing jobs, no new baby. We want to make sure it's very neutral in the home. We want to practice instructional control, and that's when they do what they ask, they get something in return. We're going to talk about rewards in a minute. The best way to practice instructional control is just to get them to sit, especially if you have a child that has potty phobia. You want to make sure you get them sitting. You want to set the reinforcements. It could be candy, special toys, pool time, Play-Doh. It needs to be super high value, okay? Sorry, I had to shut that off. I'm not even sure where that's coming from. Okay, perfect. You want to create the potty power experience. I always love to do a treasure chest, underwear. I make a big thing about it. I set a countdown on the calendar, say, okay, guess what? 5 more days, no more diapers. Very exciting, right? And then I do a full potty immersion up to the day we start. So for you and your child. For my parents, they say, all right, get out that potty pocket guide. And you're going to read it every night before bed, right? And you're going to have potty videos, potty shows. You're going to go crazy showing your kids all this types of potty wonderfulness. And if your child is fearful of the bathroom, we slowly start to desensitize them to the bathroom by kind of playing in there, just getting them to touch the potty. It really depends on where the child's at with their phobia. If the phobia is really bad, then we want to make sure that we're just addressing that first before we actually get into the potty training. Okay, so then you want to decide your potty schedule. I usually like, for kids that are 5 and under, even 6 and under, I'll do a 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. And then depending on the data that I collect with my toilet training data sheet, I can adjust accordingly. And you're going to choose your words. So you're going to make sure, okay, pee pee, poo poo. All right, time to go pee pee, time to go potty. Let's go to the toilet. Whatever words you're going to use, you want to make sure that everyone in the house are using it and they're consistent. And you're going to decide if you're going to use a potty chair or a potty seat that goes on the toilet. You want to make sure the child's comfortable with it before you implement it. You want to choose what prompts you'll use to remind the child to go to the bathroom and how you can fade these over time. Once basic potty training skills are achieved, decide how often you'll take them. Once an hour, once every 2 hours, etc. Okay? And you want to track your child's pee and poop data to show your patterns. If you have a pre-verbal child, you want to use their current communication topography along with your verbal cue to let them know it's time to get on the toilet. Okay, it's time to go potty, right? And you can have, this was the sign for Juliana, it was the you shake the fist, and that was the sign for potty in sign language. You could show a picture of a potty. I'd have a couple of pictures of potty all over the house. So that way you could grab it and say, okay, time to go potty. So when they're ready to get on to the next stage of automaticity, they can grab it and let you know, and you guys can run to the bathroom. All right. The next thing I want to talk about are reinforcements, rewards. It is a requirement for potty training. They don't have the concept right now. To them, it's like the value of shitting my pants is way better than the value of going on a toilet. I don't like it. I'm scared. It's new, right? I'm happy. I'm content doing this way. So we introduce reinforcements because we want to show them, if you do this here, it's going to be so much better for you. You're going to be like, it's going to be amazing. And what we pick is really going to make the difference of how fast we get our kids potty trained. So we want the rewards that we pick to be presented immediately. We need them tangible, accessible, visible at all times, and specific to potty training, meaning that they do not get access to whatever it is that you choose for potty training for anything other than potty training. And some ideas could be snacks, candies, cookies, chips, bubbles, books, piggyback rides, toys, electric time with mommy or daddy, crazy mommy praise, hugs, tickles. It could be anything. I had a child who loved to stim on paintbrushes. So mom went to the Michaels, got a bunch of paintbrushes. Every time he went potty, he got to take it, and he used to like to rub the bristles on his palm. Another child I had loved lotion. So mom went out, bought a whole bunch of those minimum travel size, like Bath and Body lotions. He got to pick one. He gets to put it on his hands. He loved that. I had a child who loved, you could get really creative with this. What is your child stimming on? What is it that they love in their life that they do anything to have access for? Could we use that for potty training? Okay. Here's a big one. I talked to a mom today. She said, when he has an accident, he'll just change his clothes and go put on another pull-up. Diapers go bye-bye when we start to commit to this process. Remember, we're trying to create a world where shitting your pants and pissing your pants is no longer like desired, right? We want to get to a place where doing it there sucks. Right? We're creating a world where living the life you're living now is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and doing it and doing it on a potty, that is creating a better life, and the opportunities for a happy life with that are bigger and bigger. So if we're committed to this process, we're going to ditch the diapers for good. So that means they go bye-bye. The only time that they're available and they're no longer an option, diapers would only be okay at first for nap time or bedtime. Under the condition, they're swiftly removed when the child wakes up. This is where the mindset work comes in, right? We talked a lot about that. It's a decision that needs to be made to go 100% all in. We don't dip our pinky finger into the potty pool. We are going full submerged. We are committed. If potty training is one of the big three that gives your kid a chance at a life of independence, you have to submerge. And this has to be you. Okay? Accidents are inevitable. Remember, this is not potty perfection. This is potty training. They're going to happen. Fearful thinking is what hinders the process. Quitting thinking is what hinders the process. Okay? All right. So now we're going to talk about the potty process. So potty training in 3 steps. For boys, I always say stay consistent with sitting or standing. I usually prefer, if a boy hasn't really been potty trained too much, to teach them to be sitting. You can always teach them to stand later on once they've gotten a little bit more, we've got a lot of reps in. We want them to get practice feeling comfortable sitting on the toilet. It's one of my biggest problems for my boys. So when we actually decide to start the potty training, so whether that's going to be after work or the intensive method, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, you're going to give them a lot of drinks. They can drink whatever they want and a lot of salty snacks. This time of year is perfect for potty training because they'll run around the yard and they'll play and they'll be wanting to drink, right? So it could be juice, chocolate milk, anything they like, ideally 8 to 10 cups of fluid a day, 2 to 4 ounces of liquid per hour. The second step is we want to schedule potty sessions with rewards at least 1 to 2 times every hour. I like the intensive method, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off for anybody like 5 and under. When it's time to go, you use your chosen potty language and prompt of choice. If the child is pre-verbal, if you have accidents, adjust your schedule accordingly and track your data. You're going to be using your toilet training data sheet this whole entire time. And then you're going to have breaks between potty sessions, and they should increase gradually. For example, if a child goes every 45 minutes for 3 days, has no accidents, you can push that to an hour. And once they're prompting for potty on their own, breaks can be even longer. And rewards still apply through all the phases, okay? And you're always collecting data. You're going to note your successful trips as well as your accidents, big and small. I get so much information when you guys do your data collection. You come back to me and say, okay, it seems to be the days we do have accidents, it's poop. Okay, what do they do? Well, they're on the couch every time. Okay, what are they doing on the couch? Well, they're on their iPad. Okay, that means they're super distracted. Maybe we have to make sure that when they're on the iPad that they're taking frequent breaks. Do you see what I'm saying? We want to encourage them to feel nature call. We want to encourage them to get to the bathroom, to get their reps in of trying to go. Listen, even to this day, I still tell my kids, like, all right, we're going to the store. Make sure everybody goes pee or poop before we go, right? I'm still telling them, don't like shit on that part of potty training. It's okay. It's a part of the process. Something's still going on. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, okay? Here's the intense method. I love the intense method because one of two things always happens. Number one, I get amazing data. I'm definitely on my way to a potty trained child. I know a lot more about my child. I know about their tells. I know about what they like, what they don't like. Or I actually potty train, which is a fabulous way to spend my 3 days. If I know that there's a 50% shot of being completely potty trained after 3 days, I'm all in, right? So that's my intensive method. That means this is backwards. It's going to be 5 minutes on the potty, 10 minutes off, okay? In a confined area with toys, a treasure chest of reinforcement, the child's in underwear and a shirt and nothing else, or they can be naked from the waist down. I've done it both ways. Same thing applies, lots of salty sacks, lots of fluids. I set a timer every time they sit, whether they pee or not for sitting, I might give them a little sticker or a stamp, right? I still want to encourage them to have a fun association with wanting to sit. When they actually go, we go crazy, and then we give them a high value reward. As they do this successfully, it's 5 minutes on the potty, 10 minutes off, and we spread that out as they improve. Okay, now we're going to talk about poop. Everybody wants to know, what do you do with them kids who got the problems with the poop? Or what do we do with these kids that like to touch the poop and play with the poop? All right, I got you covered. So bowel training, for whatever reason, nobody really talks about this, so I'm happy to talk shit with you, okay? So nailing feet first when we're potty training is pretty usual. Getting number 2 can take longer. And the reason that is that you get a lot more reps of peeing, right? We pee a lot more than we poop every day. So because they're getting more reps of peeing, it's quite common that this will happen. If your child has an accidental poop while on the toilet to pee, that should get a huge amount of reinforcement, okay? Then double it up. You can make a separate high value reinforcement for poop. I've done it either way. If your child has an accident and poops in their underwear, we take the child in the poop filled underwear to the potty and have the child shake the poop into the potty and say, uh-oh, too bad, poopy or pee-pee goes in the toilet. Time to clean up. And remember, the next time you go pee-pee or poo-poo in here, you're going to get that prize, whatever it is that you've picked. And I want you to kind of understand too, this was a big mistake I had made when we were doing potty training. I don't know if I had a thought in my head that it was just going to be a breeze. I have no idea what I thought. And after a day or two, like every time she'd have an accident, I'd fucking lose it. I'd throw shit against the wall. I'd scream, she'd freak out. I'd freak out. I just made this like a potty nightmare. We don't want to do that. We want to keep ourselves neutral. When a potty accident happens, we want them to be scared to have an accident. We want them to we want them going so that we can redirect them if they start to go in their pants on the toilet. Okay, so I know sometimes it's difficult to have, like, sometimes you'll have a knee-jerk reaction, especially if they're like touching their poop. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but the most important thing throughout this is you have to remain calm, that this is just I always call this the season of your life. And I could look at potty training, and I used to say this before I started coaching and everything, that potty training was the worst part of being a parent, right? And that was the exact result I created with that bullshit thought. We had a horrible time. It took a long time. I probably pushed. She probably wasn't ready when we started. By having that thought, I created that result of a horrible parenting experience. I'm the potty whisperer, right? And this was my, I almost wish I could have a do-over, because I could look at potty training as the worst part of being a parent, or I could look at potty training as beautiful as teaching her how to ride a bike or tie her shoes or brush her hair. I made it so shitty. And I get why, we have this thing, like, I don't want to touch shit or, piss of shit. It's like the worst parts that come out of everybody's body. But by thinking that way, I really hurt us. And I want you to start to think, like, I have an option of way I could see this. I could make this Disney World experience, make my kid excited to do this potty party with me, or I can make it so that we're both walking on eggshells and it takes a lot longer than it needs to, and we're both stressed out in the process. Okay. And if your child waits until you put the pull-up on to poop, how can that be? We're committed. Why? There's no pull-ups, right? So no pull-ups during daytime hours. Only time it'll be allowed in the beginning is when they're napping and when they're sleeping. And that is it. And that's only temporary. We get automaticity. We get about stage 3, 4 automaticity during the day. Usually night will correct itself. Like, it'll happen naturally on its own. But if it doesn't, then we address that separately. I like to run programs for specific things that are going on. If I have a child that is adverse to sitting on the potty, then that's our program first. We're only working on getting the child happily sitting on that potty. That means that I'm not holding them down. They're not crying. They're not whining. They're not popping back up every time I turn my back. They're happy to sit until the timer goes off. So how I do that is if a child will sit and I baseline, let's say they'll sit for 30 seconds and they pop up. That's your starting point. So then I say to the child, say, okay, you can have this little mini Oreo, and I'm going to set my timer. And at 35 seconds, when it goes off, if you stay, then you get the Oreo. And then I just start increasing the time, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds a clip, until I get to that 3 to 5 minute window. Okay. So that's me running a program, taking one part of the potty training process and making it a digestible step for you and the child. Then I can go on to like, all right, let's talk about potty training. And then I do potty training. Okay, let's talk about, oh, we got pee training. Great. So now let's run a program for poop. Okay, we got pee and poop. Now let's work on our night training. This is how I do it. We want to make this digestible, easy, so that you're not freaking out and stressed out. And the child's not freaking out and stressed out. Okay. Comes with bowel training is wiping. The job is not complete until there is wiping, right? So for wiping, we get 5 to 6 squares of the white toilet paper. It's white for a reason. We fold them. We have fun. We count them together. We wipe from front to back. If it comes back brown or dirty, we say, uh-oh, got to fold it over and do it again. It's got to come back white. And we keep doing it until it comes back clean. You focus on 3 steps after a child pees and poops: pull up their underwear, flushing, and washing their hands. The reward can be given in the beginning, right after the elimination happens in the toilet. As they start to get more reps, the job has to be completed from start to finish, and then the reward, okay? Consistency is going to be key for this. The reward that you pick is going to be key for this. And this is how we build that habit loop like you and I have now, okay? Now we're going to go on to the dreaded fecal smearing. If you don't know what fecal smearing is, that means the child is touching or eating their poop. It happens quite a lot. I don't give a shit about it anymore. Like, I actually never really cared about it. Just one time I remember she grabbed her poop when she was right after she was potty trained, she grabbed her poop in the shower, and I freaked. And I'm like, no, don't freak. I don't want to scare her. And I just dumped it in the toilet. I rinsed out the water in the tub, and I redid it, and I washed her, and I felt fine, right? It doesn't have to be this horrifying experience. Your mind is going to take you to like the worst places everywhere, right? Because it's like, they're playing with shit. I don't want my kid playing with shit. It's the worst thing that they could be touching. But there's a reason that when I always look at problem behaviors like fecal smearing, I need to understand the why, like why they're doing it, to help you create the solve. And if I'm in that fight or flight of like, oh my God, I can't believe my kid is touching shit, then I'm never going to be able to create a solve from there. So I need to get your nervous system down and neutralized, so we can look at what's going on here. And that's what we're going to talk about. So your child could be fecal smearing. It's either playing with or eating their poop for a number of reasons. To get your attention, attention-seeking behavior. Negative attention to a child is still attention. It's valuable. It means that I am important in your eyes. They like the feel of it. If I had to guess, I've never really played with shit, but if I had to guess, if it's peanut butter consistency, it probably feels like something like Play-Doh, right? And they like the way it feels. Sometimes I've seen kids play with their shit to delay an unpreferred activity. The ABA teacher's coming over. I'm going to shit and I'm going to mess with it so I don't have to work with her right away, or mom's going to make me sit at the table and I don't want to. I'm going to just mess with this. So that way she just gives up and she just cleans me up and walks away, right? Another reason a child could be doing it is infections, abdominal pain, discomfort. We want to acknowledge if it feels like that to you, if the poop smells weird or it looks weird, to take them to the doctor and get them cleared medically. And the solve here is to figure out what your child's reason is based on the above. Now, here's another example that I've seen, that a mother will tell me, that child, I walked in the living room and he's playing with his poop. And I said, well, what happened? What exactly happened? She said, well, I was standing there on the phone and I saw him go into his pants and he took the poop out and he dropped it on the floor and there's his hand and he's going like this. And that is not a child playing with their poop. That's a child that did not like the way it felt in his diaper, put his hand in his pants, pulled the poop out, dropped it on the floor, rubbed it on the table because there was some smush left on his hands, and went back to what he was doing. If I look at, I have to understand the why to create the solve. Otherwise, the solve I create, if it's not the right why, it won't be effective. Okay? And in ABA, we call it the ABCs of it, right? What's antecedent? What's the situation that occurred that led up to the smearing? The behavior, what's the behavior itself? Like, he pulled it out, but he dropped it on the floor and then he wiped it on my table. Is that a child that's playing with poop, or is that just a child who didn't want it in his pants? A sign they're ready to potty train, right? And the consequence, what happens after smearing? We had a boy, I spoke to a mom the other day, and the boy he'd take the shit and he'd smear it on the walls, but he'd make sure somebody was looking, and he had a smile on his face. This is attention-seeking behavior. So when we have these examples, right, if they're doing it for attention, we don't give them attention. So I know what you're saying. How am I not going to freak out when I see my kid playing with shit? Even negative attention is attention to our baby. So what I do with, and I instruct my parents to say, you go in there and you don't scream and yell like you normally do. Your normal reaction is no longer an option. You don't even look at them. I say, you kind of shake the shit off their hands. You bring them to the bathroom, no eye contact, no communication. You wash them. If they're laughing, you don't even acknowledge the laughter. You don't even do anything. And you clean them up, you make them help hand over hand, clean up everything, and then you walk away. And then that child, if he was getting like a game out of it before where he was laughing, you're screaming, and he's laughing, you're screaming, that interaction is gone now. So like the value in playing with my shit for mom's attention, it's not really worth it anymore. What that also tells me, if your child is looking to get your attention, we want to give them more attention when they're doing things that we like. Good job sitting on the couch, so nice. Good job eating with the fork, Jimmy. You know what I mean? These are the ways that we can supplement that feeling that he needs to get your attention in this negative way by giving him positive attention when he's doing things correctly. That'll be the likelihood of that type of behavior repeating. And when we have negative behavior that's happening for attention and we ignore it, there's no reason for them to do it again if it's attention seeking. If it's sensory, so let's say we have a child that likes to play with their poop, they like to smush it in their hands, and that's how you'll know, right? She thought he was playing with his poop, but I'm like, no, he just didn't want it in his underwear. He was shaking it out, and then a little down on his hands, he wiped on the table. Playing with their poop is like, like touching it, playing, smushing it in their hands, right? We want to think about like what in their life could we give them to replace actual poop that give them that same sensory sensation. So that could be Play-Doh, putty, slime, kinetic sand. Want to give them something else to do so that they're not messing with their shit, okay? Asking for the potty. So finally, if we can get a child, so let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to do your intensive, and one of two things are going to happen. Either you do an intensive, or you're going to do this after work or on the weekends, or whatever, whatever protocol you decide. Both of them are in the potty guide, okay? So you're going to decide one of two things. When you're doing this, one of two things is going to happen. Either the child's going to be sitting on the potty and a pee or poop's going to come out and they didn't even realize it. And you're going to notice because you're going to be watching them because you're potty training, and you're going to immediately give them praise and give them the reward. Or they're going to be off the potty and you're going to start to see the pee drip down their leg. As soon as you see it, you're going to grab them, put them on the toilet, and as long as some of the pee or poop goes there, they get the reward, and that's how they make the connection. And this isn't how just children on the spectrum make the connections. This is how all children make the connection. They have to get enough reps in it. They have to eventually get one or two in there to say, oh, I got it now. When I do it on the floor, I don't get the cookie, but when it goes in there, I get the cookie. Okay, right? They're making the connection based on your behavior. When they eliminate here, I get this. That's why you don't need to be verbal to potty train. It's very clear. When you do this, this happens. When you do this, this doesn't happen. Okay? So the next step that happens is we want them to, we have to tell them when to go. So the first part is like understanding, okay, pee and poop go here, and now I need to know when to go, right? So how do I know when to go? You have to tell them when to go because they're still learning. They see the value in it, but remember they still have to concentrate. They're still not at number 4 of, step 4 of automaticity. They need your help to remind them. So while we're doing that, that's when we can get into like, okay, we can start having them ask for the potty while I'm reminding them, right? And I first want us to stress that successful potty training of a child on the spectrum or a neurotypical child for that matter requires the same fundamental principles. After they've mastered going on the potty, we have to remind them when to go. This is a part of the process for all children, autism or not. For teaching your child to ask for the potty, think about how they communicate now and what would be easiest. A potty picture, the potty sign, communication device, a verbal prompt. I usually do a verbal prompt with a sign or a picture. Okay, perfect. So if anyone has any questions, let's put it in here. I'm just going to look at a couple of your questions right now. Is there an age limit to a child being trained to use a bedside toilet? Why do we have a bedside toilet? Why couldn't the child use the toilet in the bathroom? My son will be 5 in a few weeks. I'm not sure on where to start because he's not showing any signs of wanting to go to the potty. No child will show you a sign that they want to go to the potty, right? They're not going to know that they even need to go to the potty until we start making it a habit for them. We're showing them a payout for wanting to go. Okay? All right. So finally, the last step in potty training is I want you to start to think about the champion parent self-concept. I want you to come up with what your identity is going to be Now that you have all the tools, you're going to have the Potty Pocket Guide after this. You're going to have the replay of this just training. How am I going to get this child potty trained? How am I going to show up as a parent that gets this done? And I want to look at the parent you are today versus the parent you want to become. How do you talk about yourself now? How do you talk about your journey as a parent from when your baby was born to now? How do you talk about your baby's capabilities? Is the way you think and talk about yourself now serving to help you to get where you want to go? When I give a parent the tactical steps towards getting the big three, and they say, I've tried that, I've tried everything, it's not working, I always know there's something happening in their belief system, an internal dialogue that's blocking the progress. Who will you be and how will you be talking about yourself when your child starts communicating, potty training, is no longer having problem behaviors? I want you to put it in the Q&A. What would your life be like if your child had the big three now? The more time you spend where you want to go, right? Visualizing what it's going to be like to hear your baby's voice say, Mama, Dada, I love you. Imagine what's going to be like when you're on the couch and you hear little feet run into the bathroom and the little toilet, little pee-pee going in the toilet. When I'm thinking there versus what I don't have, that's going to influence the action you take now. And you have to be living in a place where you already got what you want now. When Juliana was pre-verbal, I fantasized what her lives would look like when she could speak, how it would feel, how it would show up as this mother that took her daughter from pre-verbal to verbal. I remember this time I was envisioning like one day of her just playing on the floor and all of a sudden just jumping up out of nowhere and running to the bathroom because she was this close to having an accident and just making it. I remember thinking that and wondering how good that was going to feel, like, oh my God, even though I'm changing diapers now, like that's coming. I'm so excited for that moment. This is what's going to help you to stay the course. I knew the identity of that mother would be exactly what my daughter would need to go from pre-verbal to communicating, to go from diapers to potty training. I didn't know the how I could become her, if I could become her at that time. I just knew that that's what I needed to do. This is the identity of the mom that gets it done. I just knew that the way I was showing up in the beginning, when I was depressed and grief, talking shit to myself, would not be the mother that makes these things happen for her baby. Creating the who you want to become as a parent of a child with autism takes tons of reps. You need to lean into those skills you have now as a parent as your launch point. For me, I knew I had high pain tolerance, right? I created my own hero. I was the exception to the rule. I could take physical, mental, emotional pain. I could handle no's. I could take setbacks. I could potty train for 3 months and still keep at it. And I keep getting up and asking for more. I lean into those skills I had as a parent, knowing Juliana's favorite things, watching what she stimmed on, where she liked to be, how she liked to be held. You're not born with these skills. I'm not born this way. I am a mom just like you. You create this identity for yourself. On my journey, I was slowly making my way to this person that you see today. And this is what's possible for your babies. Okay. We lost it here. I think we froze up here. Okay. So what is your self-concept? Do you know what separates me not just from other autism parents, but from most people in general, is my threshold from emotional and mental pain is ridiculously high. My ability to take setbacks, face first hits, no's, regressions, abrupt disappointments. Having a high tolerance for pain was key in helping my daughter go from nonverbal to sign language, to potty training with a sign, to making signs, one-word utterances, vocal scripting, to being a full-on happy, chatty 10-year-old in a general education classroom with minimal supports. This is possible for your baby too. So how do you get these skills? How do you figure out your identity? Create the self-concept of the parent that does not stop until they get their child communicating, or the parent identity of the parent who does not stop until this child gets potty trained. You need to have, there's 2 important skill sets to this job. Number 1 is you need to learn for yourself how to teach your baby. Nobody knows your child better than you. If you think you need to be a doctor, a therapist, or special education teacher, a special classroom to make a difference, that's what's going to be the solution. You couldn't be more wrong. You are more valuable than any of them because no one knows your baby better than you. In fact, it has to be you. And number 2, let's go with my slides today. I'm sorry, everybody. Number 2 is, as a parent of a child with special needs, you're going to have to be able to withstand setbacks, hiccups, regression. You have to build up your tolerance for pain. Doing this work is where the skill of taking blow after blow, enduring constant pain comes in. My ability to withstand doors slammed in my face, getting no over and over, getting humiliated, embarrassing, feeling taken advantage of, the worst type of shit any human being can endure. I've taken it all many times, and I'll still take it. I'll take it and then some if it means it's going to help my girl. Okay? So when it comes to potty training, you all know you cannot quit. This is the sauce. This is everything I do in the masterclass. This is what got us the 100% success rate that we have for the children that are in there. Okay? So this is my potty power process. But I want to invite you to start working on this now. Every single day that goes by is an opportunity for your child to have the big 3. Waiting to develop these skills means waiting to stop changing diapers. It means waiting and dealing with constant tantrums because your child isn't communicating. And it means waiting while you're enduring problem behaviors with no end in sight. And worse, waiting to help your baby is stopping your child from having a life of independence. The big 3, just like we talked about at the beginning of this presentation. Starting to teach your child these skills today is the single most important thing you can do for yourself, your child, and your whole entire family. I'm going to help you get started by doing this. I'm going to tell you about the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. I'm going to do questions, but I want to tell you about my program so that you can start working on helping your baby to get the big 3 today. Okay? So the first thing I want you to think about right now is, what is it that you want for your child? You might want an unbreakable connection with your child. You want to have peace with the diagnosis. You don't want to believe that autism is a death sentence anymore. You want to feel it in your bones that you did everything for your child and you didn't fail them. You want to know that you left no stone unturned. You want to know that your children will remember their childhood and say, Mommy gave me the amazing childhood. You want to live every day knowing that if you died tomorrow, you gave 110%, no regrets. You know that you're raising happy, healthy, self-regulating children that grow to happy adults. And this is from one of our master classes. Her name is Teresa. She had a 10-year-old, and she sent me an email letting me know that her son is officially potty trained. She said 2 magical things happened. He watches videos of people opening and eating candy on YouTube. So he got a huge 1-pound peanut butter cup for Christmas, and it was the perfect reward for potty training. He gets a piece of the cup every time he poops on the potty. For number 2, we implemented a token board system. His reward was a local hotel stay with a swimming pool. He literally went into the bathroom and took a shit on the toilet once he realized that was in store for him once he filled up that token board. His teachers are just speechless because she's never seen such a quick turnaround in any child she's worked with. I cannot tell you how much joy, unspeakable joy I have in my heart right now for all of us. A veil of depression that I didn't know existed has lifted, and I can see and feel more clearly now. This program put in place was so much fun and affordable than any of the treatments I've paid for. This is from Kimberly. She's one of my master classes from 2 years ago. And she said, hello, Michelle. When I first found you, Easton was 3. I couldn't get him a firm diagnosis. He had very few words, 0 social skills, and he wasn't potty trained. I found you the same day as our IEP meeting. That day I was defeated and overwhelmed after they asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I had to find help, and luckily I found you. It's been 2 years since I joined the masterclass, and today I had a meeting with the school regarding his kindergarten placement. He's set to start in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained and has no aggressive behaviors. His speech is blossoming, and he tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I want you to know the work you do is so appreciated. It truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's life. You have literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means for our family. You are truly a lifesaver. but she was a lifesaver for her baby. And I want to teach you guys to be the lifesavers for your babies. And this was a letter that Juliana got from her speech therapist. I'll never forget it. She was thanking me at the end of the year, and she said that Juliana had made more games and skills I'd ever seen in my 25 years of experience. I can't imagine what her future holds. And I just want to show you what's possible, that this could be your baby. This could be your journey.
You want, show me what you want. Okay. You want something to eat? Do you want, let's try, do you want to do Cheerios? You want Cheerios? You don't want Cheerios. Okay. Goldfish, you want the goldfish? You want, show me what you want. Okay. You want something to eat? Do you want, let's try, do you want, please, you want to go? Go.
They're pulling back. I'm just gonna read a little bit. See if they're silent.
This is us teaching her sign language.
Show me. Juliana, show me. Good girl. What do you want? Is that goldfish? Okay, Nanny, give her some goldfish. Juliana, do you want to watch Sophia the First? Just say no. Okay. Do you want to watch Dora the Explorer? Good girl. Do you want to watch Bubble Guppies? Okay. Do you want to watch Team Moomy Zoomy? Have to say yes.
Yeah.
Good girl. Good girl.
My number. Where's 3?
Find 3. Yeah.
Number
4.
Find 4.
You can hear her saying 4, but it doesn't sound like 4.
5. Kitties, where are you? Where are you?
Smile.
Smile, that's right.
Matthew blue. Andrew yellow. Nina yellow. Jackson green.
Eat the cupcake. Say cupcake.
Okay.
Eat the cupcake. Good job. You're Say I did it.
I did it. 1, 2, 3. Wow. That's not in Toy Story.
What happens on Toy Story Mania? What does it do?
You get to shoot. It's like a little spinning thing, and then you like shoot guns with the little thing in front of you. You go like this, and then you shoot.
And that's what's possible for your baby. It's not just my baby. It's possible for every one of you. You have to start believing different thoughts. So why would you join the masterclass? I believe every child on the spectrum is unique, and your program should be flexible and bend enough to meet the uniqueness with personal strategies. Learn that potty training is 100,000% possible, that your child doesn't need to be verbal or mildly autistic. I want you to feel confident as a parent like you were before the diagnosis came, because you'll be fluent in their language of behavior. You'll start to reconnect to your child because communication is finally in place. We're going to get to the root level of your child's problem behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptoms. We figure out the cause from the root so these behaviors happen minimally to 0. We're going to teach you how to live your life again, how to show up for an IEP meeting, a holiday party, plan a vacation, and be a family. When life happens, we can help you to get back on track. If a regression happens, we will tell you exactly how to handle it. We're going to learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. That's no longer an option. The only true fail of an autism parent is quitting. We're going to teach you how to build that champion mindset. So important. This 95% of the game is here. So you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day, and you'll get your independence back too. So what I offer is called the Champions for Our Children Masterclass, and it's a 3-month group coaching program with guaranteed results. And it has this 3-prong approach. And the first prong is you're going to get what I call my study vault of courses. This study vault you have lifetime access to, and I'm building on it every month. We've got courses in there on potty training, communication, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eaters, advocating, mindset training, everything. And it's built out every month. Because you have lifetime access to the study vault, I've seen parents go through all of the material as fast as possible, just consuming it in 30 days, or you can take your time because you have lifetime access to the web portal. This collection of programs is what makes my program the Harvard of autism. What you also get besides the study vault is you get 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week so you can learn from me and my experts. You may have taken programs in the past like I have where you're learning a lot, but you can't get feedback or check your work. You don't have support to let you know that you're on the right track and making progress. You may want to ask questions, but there's no one to ask. Many of my clients come to me feeling like they're going to be afraid that they're going to slip through the cracks. And that's why I have group coaching. This is where it comes in. You're going to come to these calls with our experts, and we create a process, a blueprint to get the big 3 for your baby. 100% success rate for potty training and communication in this program. Nobody's left without that. And we're going to be holding your hand every step of the way. This is weekly, consistent support available to you over the course of the 3 months. And everyone gets their questions answered. Even though it's a group coaching call, everyone takes their turn. And we build your blueprint on your call 1, and we build on that week after week until you get the results you came for. In addition to the regularly scheduled calls, we also have specialist calls. So 3 to 4 calls a week. They're live. They're on Zoom just like this. And you're going to learn from me. I host calls. I'm the Autism Mom and Life Coach. You'll come on my call and we'll craft a personalized plan for your baby. Then the next call each week is going to be with a BCBA. These are board certified behavior analysts. I've got 3 to 5 of them that we rotate through. So you're going to get experts giving you their opinions on creating a blueprint and keeping the momentum going until you get the results you came for. They're going to teach you how to get the big 3 with effective ABA strategies that you can do at home with your kids. Nothing was more effective than helping Juliana than me doing it with her. It's one thing when a therapist does it with them. This is why you can't rely on a school or a certain classroom or a therapist. It has to be a skill that can be generalized. So once it's generalized with you, they can use it anywhere. That's why you have to learn this. And honestly, you literally cut the line of progress when you get involved because your child wants to engage with you. They want your attention. In addition to that, we also have mindset calls. Because mindset's 95% of the game. They're going to help you with any thoughts that you're having that are blocking you from getting the results you want for your baby. And all the questions are answered. Support is my North Star for this program. So in addition to getting the study vault, the 3 to 4 live weekly group coaching calls, you're also going to get monthly specialist calls. And we have a dietitian in the program, and she is an autism mom. You're going to get to speak to her if you have a child with painful constipation or they have a loose stool, but we want to potty train them. She's going to help you to get their stools right so we can potty train them. And we also have a speech language pathologist that's an autism mom. If you want to implement a pragmatic speech program, if you want to learn how to use the talker, she's going to be able to help you and give you step-by-step instructions to getting you towards one step closer towards a communicating child. Everyone gets their questions answered on these calls. So in addition to the study vault, the 3 to 4 live group coaching calls every week, you're going to get these monthly specialist calls. Now you're also going to get our private Facebook community. It's one of the best things I love about us is that in between calls, if I'm giving you a strategy on Monday and on Thursday, it's working out really good and you want to know what the next steps are, you can tag me in the group. I know sometimes you guys just want to ask quick questions, get advice from me or the coaches or your peers in the program, or you want to celebrate. You're going to see a lot of wins in there. Every week we have potty wins every week in this program. You want to create friendships. You want to be connected to a community that believes in forward momentum for their child. That's what the Facebook group is about. So in between calls, you have questions, you tag me in the group, tag one of the coaches. I'm checking it every day. Or you can always email me directly. When you become in the program, your baby becomes my baby. I want to know everything that's going on. I want to be with you. You're no longer alone anymore. Support is my North Star. You get the study vault, 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week. You're going to get our specialist calls. You're going to get the Facebook community and access to me. But if you join the masterclass, you're also going to get my action back guarantee. And that means if after 90 days you don't get the results you came for, you stay into the program until you do, or I'm going to give you your money back. So you're going to get all of this. But tonight, till midnight, we have specials just for the people who came to the workshop. And the first bonus is if you join the masterclass by midnight tonight, you're going to get 1 private session with me. So you're going to be able to talk to me every week on those group coaching calls, but to have that one personalized meeting to kick off your program, to really just sit with me and explain to me everything you want to work on. And I'm going to start coming up with strategies to tackle all of the skills that you want. It's just a nice kickstart to you in entering the program. And we're going to give you a private session with me, $1,000 of value. In addition to that, instead of 3 months, if you join tonight, I'm going to change it. I'm going to give you 5 months in the program instead of 3. That's more than enough time. 3 months is more than enough time to see progress in communication, having a potty trained child. But we're going to even give you even more time so you feel more supported. So instead of 3 months, you're going to get 5 months. And that's 60 plus calls to change your lives. And for Potty Power students only, normally the price is $2,997. But tonight, I'm taking $500 off. If you join the program tonight, the investment is going to be $2,497, or you can do 3 payments of $878, or 4 payments of $660. That's only $16 a day. 70 plus calls to change your lives. All bonuses are going to go away tonight at midnight. You want to join now. And Jen, I believe Jen actually was able to get the chat. She put it in the chat for everybody. The link is in the chat box. And also, don't worry if you can't click the link. We're not sure if it works or not. I had her send an email. So everyone, you can go to your email. Don't leave the workshop because we're going to still do Q&A. But we sent you an email with the link. If you join by midnight tonight, you're going to get all of these bonuses. You're going to get the program for $24.97. You're going to get 5 months in the program instead of 3. And then you're going to get 1 private with me. We are going to kick off your progress. And we are not going to stop until we get your baby what you came for. So for tonight only, if you book into the program by midnight, 1 private session with me, 5 months in the program instead of 3, $500 off. All bonuses go away after midnight. You want to book your call. The link is going to be in the chat box. If you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? Or this is expensive. It is an investment, but it's also more valuable than anything you could buy because you get years back and peace, knowing the future for your child has possibilities. The masterclass is an investment for the way you live your life and teach your child for the rest of your lives. What is it costing you not to get your child the big 3 now? Think about it in the cost of diapers and wipes. You could talk about the financial responsibility of having a child still in diapers, but I think that's scratching the surface. Think about the time it's costing you to change them. More than 135 hours annually. That's 4 weeks of your life changing diapers. What's the cost of not being able to move on and teach other important life skills? I talked to a family with a daughter who had amazing intellect, amazing ability to read and do math, but she's still in diapers. This poor girl, she cannot go on to a classroom she probably belongs in until she gets this important life skill. Can you afford to pay that? Are you willing to continue to pay that price? The cost to you mentally and emotionally that this rite of passage from baby to child never happened. Can you afford to pay the price for this any longer? If you're thinking, I don't know if now is a good time. If you had to find an hour of time, how would you do it? Coaching with my team will actually give you more time. Time for our children on the spectrum is more valuable than money. We can't afford to waste a minute of it not being strategic in how we're spending it to up-level our kids. There will never be a perfect time. We help you create time and use the time you already have more effectively. Right now, I always say that if you're not working with me and you're struggling to get these skills for your baby and you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, you're already showing up. You're already working overtime. I'm going to teach you how to make the time you're already showing up more effective. I'm going to teach you how to get your life back. I'm going to give you time to take care of yourself while you're taking care of your baby and seeing meaningful progress in the process. If you don't have time now, it takes even longer to get the skills for your baby on your own. I don't even have to say that to you. You're here because you don't already have potty training done for your children. I want to help get you there. I want this just to be in your rear view. Time is our most valuable resource because once we've spent it, we can't buy more of it. Knowing what this is costing you and your family, can you spare another second not getting this done now? If you're thinking, I need to think about it. It doesn't take time to make a decision, it takes information. We actually think that the longer we wait, the more information we'll have, and we're going to feel better about making a decision. But in fact, the opposite happens. The longer you wait, the more you'll feel less confident, more uncertain, and more doubtful. Remember the mindset training we talked about tonight. The brain is not made to elevate us. The brain is not working to get our children potty trained, to keep us on the path to get our kids potty trained. The brain is keeping us safe, doing something new, taking a different course like this masterclass. It's going to scare the shit out of your brain. The reason some decisions feel solid or certain is because our brain gives us that feeling when we've made a known decision from our past. But guess what? If I don't take a step to do something different, if I don't take a step to do something that scares me, but I know it's the shot that my child has, I get the results I'm living with now. If I make decisions the way I've been making them, if I let the brain take over and just decide it's only going to make decisions that feel safe to it, that's giving me the life I'm living now. That's giving me a child still in diapers, a child not communicating. Sitting and I need to think about it keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Time is more valuable than money. It's the reason why you should join my program, because we coach you through the stuckness. And I talked to a parent last week, and we were talking about time and currency. And I said to her, the more time you say you need to think about it, the more you're in mental mud and the more you're not working with your child. If anything could come out of tonight, give yourself the gift of a decision. Either I'm the coach for you, this program speaks to you and you want to sign up, or you're going to say, you know what, this doesn't sound like it's for me. I'm going to do something else for my child. Sitting in limbo is killing you. Sitting in limbo is keeping your child in diapers. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. And it's the reason you have the results you have now with your child. If you're going to sit in the I don't knows or sit on the fence with this and just keep asking question after question, doubting yourself, wondering if this is real, could this happen? In the meantime, no action is being taken. Your child is just sitting there waiting for you to parent them, waiting for you to take them to the next level. All of these thoughts are way more expensive than working with me. And if you want new results, you have to make new and different decisions. If you're thinking, I've failed so many times or I've tried everything, how will this be different? No, you haven't tried everything. That's like a kiss of death thought. I get that all the time with my parents, and we always coach them through it. Because even me, who has coached thousands of parents with potty training, I've sold thousands of guides, thousands of courses, hundreds of parents have come through the masterclass, 100% success rate, and I can't even say I've tried everything. If you accept the thought that your brain gives me that I've tried everything, then guess what happens? There's nothing left to try, and you get the results that you're living with now. How many times have you lost your keys in the past and gone on a hunt for them? I remember thinking this when I was writing this out. Isn't it funny how you always find them in the last place you look? You can hunt everywhere and look everywhere, and then they finally appear. It's always in that last place because that is when you've tried everything. Right now, you're in the second to last place. My program is the last place. Everything you may have tried and failed up until this point, I don't even call them as fails. We call them either we're learning or we're winning. What if everything you've tried that didn't work up until this point brought you to me? If I'm speaking to you, you need to join this program. I'm going to help you see this through. This is your last stop. It's where you'll find the key to unlocking an amazing future for your child. We work with you until you and your baby win, and I do not quit till I get this result for you. Make this time different. And I wanted to talk about this because this always comes up where I have the child that nobody else has. I have a unicorn, right? Juliana is different than my child. You just saw the video of Juliana's progression. Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe on the autism spectrum. My child has severe autism. I forgot to mention this. One of our BCBAs is a male. We call him our unicorn, our trifecta unicorn, because he's a male. He is a BCBA, but he's also an adult with autism that didn't speak till the age of 7. His mother was told he would never speak. And this is his life today. He's married. He's one of the coaches in our program. You wouldn't know he has autism if I didn't tell you. This is Juliana's story. This is Armando's story. This could be your story next. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. My child is broken or I'm broken. There's nothing out there that will change the trajectory of my child because I've tried so much stuff and I've failed. Let me just tell you something. From a mom who's tried so much shit that didn't work, if I had stopped, like I did more things that didn't work with Juliana that did. The only difference is that I never quit. I never gave up. I just kept trying things until I got what I needed. And that's still how I operate from this day. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby. And then when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Subconsciously, I can't risk trying and failing because I won't survive it. And this is a survivor standing right in front of you. I am a mom just like you. I don't quit on my kid. That's where she is today. I don't believe autism is a death sentence. That's why she is where she is today. Up until the age of 5, I had this misbelief that I thought I could cure her of her autism. And I don't regret it. And I say it and I share it with pride to anybody who will listen to it. Because up until the age of 5, that thought served me well. I showed up. I never stopped. I kept getting knocked down. I kept getting back up. Once we got to the age of 5, I started to have a change of thought. And I realized, you know what, I think this is going to be here to stay, that autism, as she gets older, age-appropriate problems are going to pop up with a side of autism. That's kind of how I call it now. So then I say, okay, what if you could have autism and live an amazing life? And that's the thought that I train my brain to go out and seek the results and support in the world of how I can make that happen. How I can make my girl have the life that I never thought was possible for her. It's what Armando's mother thought when she was told he would never speak. She never stopped. And that's what's possible for yours, but you can't quit on your kid. It'll never happen if you quit. Sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or a bullshit question you can't answer. Just decide. Give yourself the gift of a decision tonight. Decide you're not ready and you won't do the work, or I'm not your coach, or you don't like the way I talk or the way I curse. I get it. Or decide you're nervous, which is totally normal because I'm asking you to do something different. I'm asking to change your world. You know, this is the thing, right? You're living a life that's very uncomfortable now. This isn't what you want. I'm going to ask you to do some things that are going to be uncomfortable too. They're not more uncomfortable. They're just not as familiar as the uncomfortable you're living now. But my uncomfortable is going to take you to the promised land. You're going to be living a life in 3 months that you didn't even think was possible today on May 10th. Decide you're nervous and willing to go for it anyway. Give yourself the gift of a decision and honor yourself and your child right now. If fears and worry are dominating your day and night, then join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today, that makes sense, take the leap of faith and join us. Saying yes will have you on your baby moving forward today. And Jen's going to put the link in the chat box, and it's also in your email. So you can go to your email right now if you want to join the masterclass. I'd love to have you. All the bonuses are going away tonight at midnight. Join now. Click the link in the chat to enroll. I'd be so honored to have you. I can't wait to serve already the new moms that have joined us. Now I'm going to grab a water. We're going to play this video, and then we're going to get right to Q&A.
This was the 7-year-old kid. He turned 7 in July, who will pee and pretty much poop in his pull-ups.
So we were not potty trained. We were not talking much. He wasn't able, if I told him to go get something, do any of those things.
Needless to say, the first day, it was like having a new puppy. She peed all day at school, everywhere. Potty training, we had tried it before. I really hit the ground running. When he turned 4.5, I'm like, okay, we're ready for this. Let's do it. And then he started showing some negative behaviors where causing self-harm and things. It just was a negative experience all around. And so at that point, it kind of became one of those big obstacles where it's like, okay, I know we need to do this eventually, but I don't want the same thing to happen again that already happened.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical because of how many times I have tried with Alexander. This is now my 5th time of attempting potty training with him.
And buying the pull-ups every day, it's not cheap.
How do I get him talking? How do I get him pooping in the potty? I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on recovering my son.
Our son was like in year 2 of potty training. He's 4 years old. He's autistic, and he had been hospitalized a couple of times because of potty training related issues.
But now we go outside and not in pull-ups because we've learned to let them use the bathroom.
He's awesome. He is fully potty trained now. We never in a million years thought that it would happen this early.
They're doing really, really well. Both are potty trained. I'd say 95% of the time, doing really, really well.
Said, all right, I made the right decision. I signed up right then and there. I knew in my heart that this was the place that I needed to be.
So this program encouraged me to, we can do it. So we did. So we started 3 days.
Obviously, potty training is huge. Just a lot of things.
He's fully potty trained. We go everywhere, just in our undies. We don't have to worry about that.
And then the potty training. You helped me formulate the confidence in myself to realize I'm ready and to really go for it. And he's now potty trained, doing it on his own, taking himself, and it went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
He honestly now is 85% potty trained. Now and then he has some accidents, but he pretty much is able to go on his own.
It was within days after really, really trying it that he really was just like, okay, I'm going to do this on my own.
You guys saved my family. How I got through as much as I did without you.
I'm so grateful for Michelle and her team and how much they helped boost my confidence and realize how I can advocate for my child.
I was scared I was going to be one of those parents that their child was not going to be potty trained.
We did the 3-day intensive, like you suggested, and Ezra is potty trained, 100% no accidents for pee.
2 weeks ago, we completely removed the diapers in the night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for our school.
Everything, we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained, he's more verbal.
He's potty trained. I take him to the potty, he pees. He has no accidents, and he loves going to the potty. There's no problematic behavior.
And we're lock in step. And I think because he's got the pooping down and he's very independent of the whole process.
I started listening to the tips from Michelle, got involved in the course, and in the first couple of weeks, my son was fully potty trained.
He is like 3 million times further than where he was. And my mom's like, we have so much to thank them for. I was like, I know, Mom.
So I will recommend you to anybody, whoever is out there that's confused, thinking there's no help, and they are all by themselves. No, not all by themselves. Get with Michelle, and she will get you to take the baby steps.
Take this course, do the one-on-ones, listen and absorb everything that this team has to offer, because it has been absolutely life-changing for me.
Absolutely. Hands down of everything we've done, this has been the best thing. This was the most support and all the way around.
You guys have a gift. And you're sharing it, and that's amazing.
100%. I do recommend it because all weeks when I come here for any of the course, you learn something new.
This is going to help you. You can learn through other parents' experiences. You can, have some camaraderie with people that are going through the same thing as you are.
You'd be crazy to not get in this program if you have concerns about your child, even if you don't want to go after a diagnosis.
Absolutely. And I have already been recommending champions for our children.
It's amazing. I can't recommend the program enough.
Yes, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendously.
Just do it. Don't hold back. Just go all in with your daughter or your son. And I promise you will definitely see results. Because truly, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical for a little while. I waited. I really kind of went over the program a few times. Like, I don't know if I can do this, but it was totally worth the sacrifice of me as a very active mom. Sitting in the bathroom is not for me, and I did it. And I'm very proud of myself for developing the patience that I have with her.
Amazing. I want to give a shout out to the moms who've already joined. We're so excited to have you. We're getting lots of questions on the masterclass. I'm going to answer as many questions here in the chat as possible. I'm going to stop sharing if I can figure it out. Okay, here we go. All right. A couple of questions we had. A mom just wrote, let's see, is my son's 9. Is he too old to learn? No, but if I have a belief that because he's 9, he's too old to learn, then you will get that result, right? This is about the mindset part of being a parent who doesn't give up on their child, who believes in what's possible. I want you to think about when you have a child, whatever age they be. We just had a child, a woman, potty trained in the program. She was 18 years old. We've had children to adults from 2 years old all the way up to 31 potty trained in the program. And what I want you to always think about is I want you to look at what they can do in their life. Like, what are they capable of now, right? And how does that show you that this is possible too? I always say, you know what, if your kid can work a phone or an iPad, they can work a toilet. This is on you to start believing different thoughts about your child to get different results. Okay, so I think we can do some coaching. I'm going to try and do a couple of you. I'm going to take Salwa Ahmed. Actually, before we do that, Jen, can we do the wheel of names to see who's going to get their free private session with me? And then I'll start doing some coaching. And I'm trying to answer these questions as they come in. What if they won't even get on the toilet? That's potty phobia, right? So if they're not even going to sit on the toilet, we want them to just get comfortable going into the bathroom. We want to get comfortable turning on the light. We want to get them right. We're going to work it and bring it down into bite-sized chunks until we get the results that we came for. So we're going to start with personally, like we're going to start, okay, we want to baseline what they are willing to do in the bathroom. Are they willing to at least walk in? Then that's our baseline. Then I start building out the progress from there. Okay, now if you walk in and turn on the light, I'm going to give you a piggyback ride. Okay, you did that, great. Now I'm going to walk in, turn on the light, and I want you to touch the toilet, right? Then I want you to walk in, turn on the light, touch, and then I want you to sit on it with pants on, right? So we're going to start building this out step by step by step. But if a child has potty phobia, we cannot train until the child actually can sit on the potty neutrally. My child poops standing up. I had to put her on the potty when it seems she had the urge, and she seems so uncomfortable. She never squatted to urinate or poop. Help. I need you to raise your hand. I need to ask questions around that. Jen, are you ready to do wheel of names? All right, here we go. She can do wheel of names. So everyone who's here, your name has been put in a wheel, and we're going to run this wheel, and whoever's name it lands on, you are going to get a free session with me. Oh, and it's Cynthia Mode. If you are here, Cynthia, I hope you're still here. You have to be here to get it. Yes, she is. Cynthia, you won a private session with me. You're going to email Michelle at michellebrodgers.com. And we will set up that session. All right, so let's do some coaching. I'm going to take a couple of calls, a couple of you know. How this is going to work is I'm going to promote you to panelists. I'm going to allow you to talk. You're going to tell me what's going on with your baby. I'm going to tell you how to create the solve, and we're going to get to some potty training. All right, Salwa, you are first. And then Lee and Amanda Fleming, you are next. I'm going through these questions as fast as I can here. If you're using plastic underwear to protect clothing, right? So somebody was asking if they could use like the waterproof pants. You have to try it. If it's not a deterrent for them going on themselves, like if you got to figure out what the reason of why you want to do this. So you're trying to avoid an accident, or we want it to be uncomfortable for them to want to do it anywhere else but the toilet. So sometimes those waterproof pants make it okay and they're happy with just, peeing and pooping in them. If you're trying to do just to make your life easier, remember, this isn't potty perfection, this is potty training. We have to expect messes, and it's going to be okay. All right, it doesn't look like Salwa are you going to be talking? Salwa, are you there? All right, I am going to lower hand, and we will bring her back if she wants to come back on. And I'm going to start next with Lee and Amanda Fleming. Let's do, he pees on the potty in the morning, but he will not do it again throughout the day. Nicole, what is his reinforcement? What's the desire? It's interesting. Getting that first pee is usually easier because when you get the first pee, they're actually just coming out of the bed and their bladder's full, right? So the desire for him might be to have an empty bladder, but throughout the day, that desire may be lost, right? So we have to create desire for him to want to use it over and over again. Hi, Lee and Amanda Fleming. Are you ready to chat?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Great. So tell me about your baby.
He's 4 years old. He was diagnosed about the age of 2. Our biggest issue,
What's his name?
James.
James. Okay, great.
And I think our biggest concern, and it's potty training, and also he's very aggressive.
Aggressive, got it.
Physically aggressive.
Okay. So what have you tried for potty training? Has he ever eliminated on the toilet?
Yes, he has. Like he'll come tell us every now and then, like, hey, I want to go to the potty.
Okay.
But it's like getting him to be consistent with it.
Okay, so he will pee and poop on the potty. He's done that before?
He'll pee. He hasn't pooped yet, but he'll pee.
Does he pee standing up?
No.
Okay, so he pees sitting down.
He's got like a little training potty. He won't really sit on the big potty yet. We're working on that phobia.
Okay, so now you've got a little education on that tonight, right? First, we want to be consistent. So if we're going to see potty training through, we're going to make the decision if we're going to train him in the seat or we're going to train him in the insert. We don't want to do a mix and match. The idea here is to stay committed to a process.
Yeah,
So
we're doing it on the training potty.
Okay, fine, perfect. So what's the reward for going?
He's got like this little treasure box. It's actually a Tupperware container, but it's got different fidget toys in it, and he loves them.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much does he love them?
Probably 9, 10, and 11.
9, 10, and 11. That's a big range. So between 9, 10, and 11, where would you say the number really is?
Probably 10.
Probably a 10. Okay, so that means he'd do anything if he saw them. He would do anything for access to them.
Pretty much.
Well,
he'd even try to climb my fridge to get to them.
Yeah, he definitely wants them. The desire is high, but like when you take him, so basically how does it work? Like when you get him to actually go on the potty, are you asking him to go? Is he going on his own? Tell me a little bit more about that.
I'm asking him.
Okay.
And like while we were actually on the video, my son had woke up from his nap and I asked him, I was like, do you want to go sit on the potty? No. Do you want to go sit on the potty? No. So I was like, okay. And then about like 10 minutes later, he came up to me, Mommy, can I go sit on the potty? I was like, yeah, let's go. But he had already went in his diaper. He'd already peed in his diaper.
Okay. So the first thing we have here is that you're giving him permission to say no. That's number one. So the first thing we'd say is like, you just got up from nap, it's time to potty. And remember, when you go potty, that big treasure chest of toys are waiting for you. I always like to put the treasure chest in the bathroom so it's visible but not accessible. So he knows as soon as he walks in, that's where they are. And I'm absolutely crazy, loving, and excited to get access to that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So the first part of this is that we don't give them a choice. Like, hey, do you want to go? They're always going to say no, right? Right now, he doesn't see the value in going. He's made a connection, I think, in the sense of like sometimes when he goes, he gets access to the treasure chest, but he's not really made the direct connection that every time he goes, he's going to get access to the treasure chest.
Yeah.
Also, I know it sounded like you said he peed in his diaper.
Yeah. Or a pull up.
Yeah. So why is that?
Because he didn't go to the potty.
Well, no. Well, I can understand if he was in a nap, right? Because we're in the middle of potty training, that he would be in the pull-up. As soon as he wakes up, he goes into underwear.
Okay.
Right? So the first thing you do anytime a child wakes up from in the morning or a nap is they immediately get put on the potty. because usually after a nap or sleeping for overnight, you got to go, right?
Yeah.
Then whether they go or not, like they have to make the attempt. And if he does the attempt and nothing comes out, the underwear goes on. The idea here is you're making an environment right now where it's optional to potty train in your home. I don't have to do it. I could just piss in my pants and she's going to change it.
Yeah, let me ask this, because for the first probably 3 years of his life, we were in a situation, we were addicts and everything. We're in recovery now, but he pretty much got whatever he wanted. So now at 4 years old, we're trying to redo our parenting style to be more firm.
Okay.
And not giving in.
Okay. Love it. Where's the problem?
He's like with the potty, he becomes physically aggressive. Like if we try to pick him up and put it on it, he'll become physically aggressive. He'll bite, punch, hit.
So that's the
everything.
thing, right? Because we talked about that in the beginning. You said he didn't have potty phobia sitting on the seat, but if you're asking him to sit and he won't sit, sometimes he will and sometimes he won't, he's still got potty phobia. The idea is anytime I ask him, he's going to want to sit. And if I don't have that, I don't have a child that's ready to go full on with the potty training. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So the first thing we want to do is do a lot of reps of giving them a little reward. I always say the reward has to be 10 times the ask. And when we're just looking to get a child to sit on a potty, we don't need to have them eliminate. So I can give him anything as little like a sticker, a bubble, a balloon, something really easy for a sit on the potty. And the idea is that we want to get them up to 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to come out. So the idea here is like, okay, when I ask him to sit, he'll sit for about 5 seconds and pop up. Then that's your baseline. So you set your timer and say, okay, if you sit until the timer goes off, I'm going to give you a balloon, something that's worth the ask of sitting. So he goes and he sits till the timer goes off. Great, you get the reward. Then every time I do this, I run this program 4 to 6 times a day where I'm just getting him to sit. I'm not asking for elimination. If I get that, then he gets the treasure chest, right? But if I don't, that's fine. We're trying to just get the reps in where every time I ask him, it's not a problem.
Okay.
And it's a reward for him. There's value in him for wanting to play this game with you because he gets something on the other end of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Positive reinforcement. Yes.
Yes, always. I'm a big positive. I know I sound like a hard ass, and you're talking about redoing parenting style like it's a fucking problem. I love it. Because there's not, I'll tell you, nothing says love from a parent to a child than a parent that provides structure and teaches important life skills. This is absolutely mandatory for him to move forward from a child to an adult. This is the thing about our babies, and I wonder how to word this sometimes with you guys, but I'm just going to say it is that, listen, our children don't realize the value in learning these skills if we've made an environment comfortable enough for them to just stay where they are in their development. And we give kids on the autism spectrum passes for this because of their diagnosis. It's almost like a form of pity, which is the worst fucking thing you could do for your kid. The idea here is to listen, remember at the end of the day, you know more than he does. And you also know that you're going to die one day. And he needs to learn these skills to become as self-sufficient as possible so he can care for himself when you're gone. He doesn't see the value of that. But underlying that this is the reality for all of us parents. We all want our kids to go as far as they can, as fast as they can. I have to see that as more valuable than giving him a pass because he's got autism and giving him a pass because maybe we had problems in the past, but now we're righting our ship. I don't even listen to, if you have been a parent that's given your kid a pass because of autism, don't make yourself feel guilty about that. Don't feel a certain way about that. All that shit can stop today. You have every minute of every day is your opportunity to change things around. What I do is I just kind of put a curtain behind the past because I can't change it. So if I go sitting in my past tripping and making myself feel like shit, that doesn't help me to help my baby now. I don't want to put my energy and my thoughts to, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? I'm a shoulda all over myself. I want to do everything I can to make today, this moment right now, count.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. It was a pleasure speaking to you. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. We're going to take one more. We're going to take Colleen Button. Oh, I like that name. Colleen Button. Anybody who I didn't answer your question, you can send it to Michelle at michellebrodgers.com. I'll put that right here. I'm trying to answer as much of these not just to ABA, just a certified therapist. I don't even know what the first question was. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, my son has a scholarship that reimburses us if you're a certified ABA therapy. Is that the ABA therapist? Is that the case? No, I am just an autism mom, no BS autism mom, but I do have board certified behavior analysts that are in my program that you will have access to. So if you do join the program and you have a scholarship that reimburse you, I actually had 1 or 2 instances of this where I have families that either had one of those health savings accounts. They were able to use that to pay for the program. And I've had people who've had self-direct budgets for their children. If that's what this is, we do have board certified behavior analysts, a part of the coaching process in my program. All right, Mary Thompson, you are up. Do not raise your hand if you do not want to come up live. We want to hear from you. We want to see what's going on. And Mary's coming. There we go. Oh, is it Mary or Katie? Or Katie. Oh, wait, I'm going to do Mary first. Okay, Katie?
Okay.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
I'm good. So my son is 9 years old, has Down syndrome, and was diagnosed with autism, severe autism, at age 7.
Okay.
I've tried several times potty training. I've tried intensive. I've tried heavy prayer. I've tried school help, BCBA. I have decided this summer I'm going all in, like you said, and changing my mindset. So I got some great tips tonight. I think where my hang up with him has come, he's not at all afraid of the potty. He uses the potty if we take him to the potty. What I can't figure out is he doesn't, I'm trying to choose my words because earlier you made me second guess what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Just say it anyway and I'll help you through it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if he knows physically that he needs to use the restroom, and he does not indicate that he needs to ever. So my thought is if I take him every 30 minutes or every 2 hours, he will attempt to go. He doesn't go every time. He's not successful every time. I think once we get him to the potty, he could be successful as far as, but if I don't take him, then he goes in his underwear.
Okay.
So I just don't know what that missing component is. And it may simply be that I need to just go all in and start, completely spend the summer in the bathroom. I don't know.
Well, that's a thought, right? Who wants to do that?
Right. I've tried the 3 days, but I don't know about
right. Like just even that thought is like defeating in itself. Like who wants to fucking potty train and spend their whole summer in the bathroom?
Right. Okay.
I want to tell you a story about one of the moms that joined the program on New Year's Eve. I'll never forget it. She joined the program on New Year's Eve and she was crying on the call, and she was terrified to join because she had just gotten out of the ICU with her son. He had a terrible kidney infection. She was one of the moms that talked on that testimonial reel. And I remember telling her she believed because he was nonverbal and she wasn't no shit about autism, just like the rest of us, that she missed the signs and the infection got so bad that he had to go to the ICU. Now she had found a school placement for him, which would allow him to go 5 full days, but he had to be potty trained. So she was torn between like, I'm terrified to potty train because I'm afraid he's gonna have this situation happen again, but I really need him to go to school full time because this is the only opportunity. Where they were living is very rural and they didn't have a lot of options. So I told her at that time, I said, listen, I need you to believe that this is possible. I need you to understand that kidney infection could have happened to a neurotypical children. Children have a high threshold for pain. There are plenty of children that could have had that happen to them, even if they were verbal. So I said, having those thoughts, like thinking about the past and just playing that reel over and over and over again, the what ifs and the shouldas, is not helpful to help your baby now. And I said, what we do have from that, I never consider anything that we tried as fails. I'm either learning or I'm winning. And even though that was a very painful thing, and I'm so grateful, and we're also grateful that he came out of it and he was out of the hospital at this point, I said, we've learned something now. We know the signs of when this could get bad. She agreed with that. She joined the program. Within a month, we got him potty trained. Not only did we get him potty trained, within a month, because you're thinking it's going to take you all summer. I mean, I think we even got him potty trained even less than a month. It might have been like 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember. I ended up doing her testimonial reel, her video or interview in March. And I said to her, I said, Erin, if I had told you on New Year's Eve that this would be your life now, would you have believed me? And she said, not only would I have not believed you, I quit my job when the autism diagnosis came, and I quit getting my master's degree. He can now go to that school full time, and I can go back to work full time. I would have never thought that. If you said that to me on New Year's Eve, I would have said you were fucking nuts. What if that's the possibility for your boy, Mary?
That would be amazing. I mean,
doesn't that like change the energy in you just to think like, I went from thinking this is going to ruin my summer to what if this is possible that we could potty train him in a couple weeks?
Right. It'd be life-changing for him. Absolutely. For us.
It'd be life-changing for you too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Think about all the things he could do if he's potty trained. And
right. That's our issue is now we're at the age, he's old enough, he's not eligible for programming because of that, because of the potty training.
Yes. So this is why it should be your number one priority. But I don't want you to go into it with the shittiest thoughts like it's going to take all summer. I'm going to be locked in the bathroom sweating, right? So here's what I want to look at. First, I want to embrace and acknowledge the wins you already have with him. If you take him on a set interval all day, every day, he will have a 100% success day. Do you know how many parents in here would give anything to have that type of progress with potty training?
Oh, sure. And I'm hearing you say that, like, he's not afraid of the potty. That's a win.
Yeah.
He will go. He can go. He can go.
That's a win.
Yeah. We've checked out his GI. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of wins. It's that last piece that I can't figure out the puzzle yet, but I'm going to.
I love that. Or I'm willing to believe that the answer is
coming. I believe I can. Yes.
Yes, I love that. All right. So now when I think about that, so let's talk about this. When he goes to the potty, does he get a reward right
now? He does, but I've already made this note. His number one reinforcement, he gets randomly for other things as well. So I'm going to between now and I say summer, so that he's not at school, he's not at therapy, he's at home with mom. I can do this. I'm gonna remove that. It's Cocomelon. Good gosh, everybody loves Cocomelon or hates it, one or the other, but he loves it. So right now, that's his major reinforcement, and he does get it for when he goes to the potty, but he gets it at other times of the day. I think it's confusing.
Yes, you got it. Jeez, Mary, you're already connecting the dots. The idea here is if I find something that my baby loves, like her baby loves Cocomelon, but if he's getting that every time he says hi or every time he folds his clothes and then he gets it for the potty, the desire for it will decrease, that he'll be satiated on it. The idea here is that if we find something that he'll do anything for to have access to, when we withhold it and use it strictly for potty training, it changes the name of the game. Because now he can have it anytime he wants. He's just got to pee or poop on the potty.
Got it. Good.
And that's going to give him because the desire is going to be increased because now you're only using it for potty training. He's going to go out of his way to try and see if he can get some pee or poop out.
True. Yeah. Okay.
Do you see where that connection could come?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So what I would do is if I'm committed, I wouldn't even wait till summer. You could start this now. You could do this over a weekend. I would make Cocomelon disappear for a week. So if he asks for it, you're like, I don't know where it went. I don't know. I can't find it. Right. And you're going to let everybody know that, you don't take, like in the middle of Cocomelon, shut it off. You're asking for trouble. Right. So usually when they go to bed the next day, they're asking, I don't know where Cocomelon went. It was here. Now it's not, blah, blah, blah. It's gone for a week. Then next week, you say, guess what? Or you can even take it away at night. Say, guess what? I found Cocomelon, and every time you do pee-pee on the potty, you get 5 minutes of Cocomelon, and anytime you poop, you get 30 minutes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And then you just let everybody know, school and everybody, that this is the new rules, or this is what we're going to be using as a reinforcer. Nobody's giving them Cocomelon at any other time except for going potty. And the first thing is that I want you to start your baseline is going to be how you do it now when you tell him when to go. You could use your toilet training data sheet. You're going to see how often am I taking him now? Could I widen the window? I want to get a couple of days of success so he can see, okay, this is cool. Every time I go, I get Cocomelon. And then after a couple of days, I want to start widening the window. One of two things is going to happen. He's going to have an accident or he's going to feel nature call. Remember this, a reward is waiting for him. And he's going to run to the bathroom.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Perfect.
I have a question. I have one last quick. I got one more, and I don't want to take everybody's time, but I am curious.
That's okay.
So right now we have him wearing we have him at school in underwear with a pull-up over that. Do you suggest remove the pull-up altogether?
Let me ask you a question. If he wets his pants with no pull-up, does he like that, or he doesn't care, or how does he act?
He doesn't seem to acknowledge at all.
Okay.
I mean, he's indifferent. So the purpose of the pull-up over the underwear was so that hopefully he would be uncomfortable, but he wouldn't make quite this mess at school.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? Now, what's the interval? If you had 100% success day, how often would you have to take him?
I'd say we're up to an hour.
So if they're taking him every hour at school, he's not going to have an accident, right?
Right. Theoretically. Yeah. He's pretty
So
consistent with
why
that.
is he going with a pull-up over his underwear? Got to pull the Band-Aid off, Mom.
Well, I know. Well, I get it. It's convenience of the adults part. I get it.
You're going to send him in with his toilet training data sheet, with his reward, and a stack of undies and pants and whatever, an extra pair of sneakers in case he pisses right to the jeans and to the socks. And you're going to say, have at it. He goes every hour. It shouldn't be an issue. And then when he has an accident, whether it be there or home, he is a part of the cleanup process. We want to create an environment. We're going in my pants sucks, right? Okay. This sucks. I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to change. That's our built-in reinforcer where we are all now on our path on potty training, right? I could sit in this seat. I might have to go. If I piss myself, I have to change my pants. I have to change my underwear. I've got to clean up. I've got to clean the seat, clean the floor. My value is to answer nature's call, so I don't have to do that. He's got to start to get a taste of what that's like too.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? We're closing in on the world that we're making his world smaller and smaller and smaller where it lives now, where potty training, not peeing on the potty is like, okay. And we're creating a bigger world where like, listen, when you do shit on the potty, you get lots of cocoa melon and praise, and everybody thinks you're a big boy. You wear the big boy underwears. I can get him underwear with cocoa melon on it. Make it like this is like amazing. This is the party you want to be in.
Okay. All right.
Is that helpful?
I believe it. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's get her done, Mary. I want to hear about it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. All righty. No problem. My pleasure. We're going to take one more. We're going to try Caddy. Are you here? Caddy. We've had so many questions. So new moms joining. Yay! We're happy to have you. Welcome. Welcome to the program. Hi, Caddy. How are you?
Good. Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hi. So my son is going to be 6 next month.
Okay.
He has autism and ADHD. He is nonverbal.
Okay.
We've just had worst luck in terms of schooling, home therapists, me going out to find people for home. They're all not qualified, or they haven't worked with children at his low level functioning. So there's no technique for communication, even though he does have an AAC device. We try to work with him with that. For the toileting issue, since he has ADHD, he doesn't sit for a long time on it. So we're just taking him to the toilet just to have him sit for 2 minutes.
Great.
But then he's very fidgety. He's jumping up and down on it, or he'll try to put his hands in the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to talk about a couple of things here. Number one, with the fidgeting. So is he getting a little reward for going when you're having him practice sitting?
No, if we're having him sit longer and be attentive, I just put his nursery rhymes on. So we're practicing just sitting on a seat for
Okay.
longer.
So the nursery rhymes are like a reward for him, correct? I'm just opening the door so the dog doesn't bark.
Yes.
Okay. So he's getting a reward whether he sits or not.
Yes.
So why would I sit?
Well, okay. But he won't
You see what
attend.
I'm saying?
Okay.
Even if we have to back the time up, the idea here is jumping up and down, fidgeting, putting your hands in the water is not a successful potty sit, right? We're trying to, I don't know the right word, but I just call it potty phobia in my program. So he's got potty phobia. So we have to fix that first before we can potty train. And right now, I love the idea that you're using these nursery rhymes as a reinforcer to get him to sit. But the problem is that he's going to get it whether he completes the sit or not, which is going to keep you stuck where you are now.
Okay.
So what we do is like, listen, first you sit, even if it's got to be less time, and then you get the reward for sitting. That way the terms are very clear. Right now, the way you're doing it, the terms are super muddy. So he's like, why the fuck do I want to do that? I'll just do what I want to do. And, you know, sometimes I'll want to sit, sometimes I'll want to help her out, sometimes I won't. And I get the reward either way. So it's just for him, the payouts, like if the payout's guaranteed, no matter whether he does or he doesn't, you'll never move past whatever you're getting now. So what I would do is I would baseline doing this first and saying, guess what, honey, we're going to change the rules. You have to sit first. And if you sit really good, I'm going to give you the nursery rhymes. Now, here's the thing. If he gets nursery rhymes any other time of day, right, then it's like, all right, is that worth sitting? I always think sitting is not a difficult ask. So we can go with a lighter reinforcement. If we're looking at like that 10 thing I do anything for access to, then that needs to be reserved for potty training. But if I'm using nursery rhymes, but he also gets nursery rhymes when he eats his lunch, and he always gets nursery rhymes when he goes to bed, and he gets it here and there, then again, like, what's the value in sitting? I'm going to get it later anyway, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely does.
Okay.
Since he has ADHD, his focus, he's smart in certain things, but he just doesn't attend to them for longer periods of time. That's the thing.
This is the thing about ADHD, because, when we get children in the program with multiple diagnoses, we handle this all the time. It's not the diagnosis that's causing it. It's the lack of reps he's getting to concentrate. So that's the problem here. He's getting a pass because of ADHD. He's getting a pass because he has multiple diagnoses. He's getting a pass because you think that he is low level functioning. And whether he is or not isn't my problem. The problem is how do I show up when I think my child's got multiple diagnoses and he's low level functioning? How motivated am I going to be to want to potty train him?
Okay.
I'm not saying this to call you out, and I say this with love, because if I want you to show up in the identity of the parent that needs to get this done, like I always say to parents, like, just get his bag, pack a bag, and drop him at my house. When you pick him up in a week, he's going to be a very different child, because that doesn't get a pass for me. I know that there are things that he can do that probably make him quite capable, and that I just need to use rewards and behavioral teaching in a way that's going to get the most out of him.
Okay.
So ADHD, yes. Is it a challenge? Does it exist? Absolutely. Does autism exist? Yes. Does severe autism and symptoms exist? Yes. Is that a reason that I can't get this done? No. It's my thoughts about it that's making this not get done.
That's
what you're doing isn't bad. You were on the right track. It was just the application was muddy.
Okay. I've been leaving it to professionals in school or third therapists that come home. And when
I'm not saying that there isn't a place for professionals in your life. I'm not big on doctors, and I'm very skeptical of anybody thinking that they're going to tell me about my kid when I know my kid better than anybody. I got a fucking PhD in my kid. Okay. You see him for 30 minutes, an hour a day, 5 days a week, whatever the case may be. I take what I think is going to be valuable from your opinion and advice, and I leave the rest. One of the most important things that comes out of the masterclass is I want to teach you to get your intuition back. You had a belief about the mother you were going to show up to be before the diagnosis came. When the diagnosis comes, or the multiple diagnoses in this case, the fucking intuition goes right out the window. It did for me too. I was the same exact way. But then when I realized that that was actually stopping me from helping her attain these important life skills and giving her a pass for not getting it done, I had to get out of my own way with that. Like, I can't think things like that anymore. It's that's the death sentence for me and for her.
Yeah, that's right. So my oldest is also on the spectrum. It's just like your girl. I went through the same exact story you did with her, and she's 10 now, and she's very high functioning and independent. She goes to violin lessons by herself and everything. So I was like in the mindset of, oh, she went through the same path. I put him on the same path, and I left it to professionals, and she kind of did learn.
Like, that's so fascinating to me.
So that's where I'm trumping, like what to do.
That's so interesting. Did you leave it to professionals for her?
I did. Surprisingly, she learned a lot from them. And the thing is that she had a good quality, we had good quality resources back then.
Oh.
2
And
3
listen,
years, the resources, I don't see that anymore, those type of
So
people.
if we look at resources, I don't know if you can see my screen or not, but resources and circumstance of life, it's neutral. So whether you
Mhm.
have them or you don't is neutral. It's the thoughts I have about having them or don't having them that's creating shitty feelings, that's creating the actions I'm taking. It was nice to have this helping hand, but I think you're giving a lot of credit to externals instead of thinking that you didn't have a part in helping your daughter be where she is today.
Yeah.
What I think is that you, when that time happened, when you reflect on it, you're thinking, I couldn't have done that without all of these people. But what if the real reason she got the results she had nothing to do with them and had everything to do with you? And it's almost like you're holding on to like, I don't want to call it like a false, I had to explain it. It was like holding on to this whoopee, but the whoopee has no power. It was just, it made you feel like you had power. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And the way you look back on it, which is so fascinating, but that's what's killing your situation now, is because now you don't have the same circumstance, but you believe so much that you had nothing to do with it, that that's the reason why you're not getting the results you have now. This is why 95% of the game is here. What if that shit that you're recalling is not even the way it was? And if we asked a brother or a cousin or a sister or an uncle, like, no way, Caddy was fucking amazing with her daughter. She did all these things. And all this time, Caddy thought it was because of the resources her daughter got there. I don't believe that for a minute. You got to stop believing. I want you to think back to that time and think about how you were a part of the resources that made her to where she is today, and how you can also be a part of that for your son. And how that, because the circumstance is what it is now, where you don't have, you said that you've had some bad luck, how having that thought is what's actually causing the results you're living now with your son.
No, that's true. I've come to the realization, like since a month or two, that I have to do everything myself for my son. Nobody else is going to come and do it for me.
Right.
But I have to learn how to do it in a whole different way than I did for my daughter, because he's very, very different than what she is. But I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to start.
And honestly, like your number one thing to help him, because you've already done this, you're not giving yourself any credit when it comes to your daughter, is to work on the thoughts that you're believing right now about this situation. The biggest roadblock for you is not the things to do for him, it's the belief in self.
Yes, definitely.
That I'm telling you, I want you to go back and really think about her journey and how much of a part of it you were. There's no way she could have went from where she was to where she is if you weren't the catalyst for it. There's no way, Caddy.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
And you're looking at him and you're looking at the circumstances, meaning the multiple diagnoses and his level of autism, and thinking that that's the circumstance that's creating the result. It's not your thoughts about that that's creating the results. The thoughts of hopelessness, the thoughts of being ill-equipped, the thoughts of being unlucky. When I think all those things, I'm not taking good action. If my thoughts are always in the toilet and I feel like shit, I'm not taking good action. There's no way.
Yeah, you're right.
If I can get the Caddy back, the Caddy who believed in her daughter, who had that beautiful transformation, think about how she showed up, her identity, how she went every day, balls to the wall for her daughter. What would that Caddy say to this Caddy?
Oh yeah, I was a different person back then. I had more energy too.
Yeah. Just thinking powerful thoughts gives you more energy. I don't drink coffee. This is me, because this is what I believe. I believe these kinds of things about myself and about my child and about all the families in my program every single day. I am your beacon. I will beacon you to the path. Was this helpful?
Oh, definitely, Michelle. Thank you.
Amazing, Caddy. It was great to talk to you.
Same here.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that's a wrap. But listen, I love talking to everybody tonight. I hope tonight was helpful. You have until midnight tonight We're taking $500 off the program. It's $24.97. You're going to get 5 months in the program instead of 3. You're going to get mindset coaching. You are going to get a private session from me out of the gate. Let's go. You have until midnight tonight to join. I'd absolutely love to have you. It's my honor.